Welcome back to the channel. Today we are grading every ordinary card in Gothic for draft and sealed play. I recommend checking out Golden Eagle and CJ's channels for constructed play. Niek and I are obsessed with limited, and that is the context with which we'll be discussing each and every card in Gothic over the course of this video series. But we're just starting with the ordinaries today. I'm happy to welcome Niek back from Brussels onto the channel, so thanks so much for joining me again. His expertise is always welcome. How's it going, Niek?
Hey Mitch, I'm doing very well. We had the Siege at the Core tournament in Europe, in Brussels in December. That was amazing launch of Gothic. And now we are back for the full set review. I'm looking forward to this one.
All right, and then I just want to mention the draft that we do. So if you don't know, I host a draft every Wednesday evening, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and Nick hosts a draft for European players at 8:30 p.m. Central European Time on Tuesdays. So if you want to play limited, I'll have a link to the Sorcerers at the Core Discord. You can join that, and we'll send you a message and make sure that you know where to go to gain access to those drafts. But totally free. We play on TTS, so if you can play on TTS, you can draft with us. And then I also want to mention that Nick now has his YouTube channel up and running. He did some constructed gameplay coverage recently. That is the Sorcerers at the Core YouTube channel. Do you want to tell us about anything that's upcoming on that channel?
Yeah, so finding my way to YouTube, I have a lot of ideas, limited in time, but so we currently focus on tournaments, gameplay, and so the next one on the list is the Siege at the Core tournament. Everything was recorded, so now recording those games, and hopefully by the end of this month they will be available on the channel.
All right, and then the last thing I want to say before we start setting up everything is that I encourage you to comment as you watch the video. If you watch like a full 3-hour video and then plan to comment at the very end, you're going to forget everything that you were going to comment about. And it's a great way to drive engagement. It gets this seen by more people. It lets YouTube know that like people are watching and engaged in the content. And also, like, me and Nick just want to hear your ideas about what cards you disagree with. If your opinion's different than ours, then let us know, and we can take that into account and challenge our own beliefs about some cards, and that'll make the whole limited community better, because I'll share that information with you if I think that there's something that we need to change our opinions about. Okay, and then I'm going to set up the mechanics. So I'm probably just going to do this in this first video. So I'm going to talk about evil a little bit. So evil is one of the headliner mechanics of the set. So that's demons, monsters, and undead. Those 3 subtypes of minions are considered evil, and then there's just cards that reference evil. So, for instance, there's the card Begone. It's a fire card, and it just says banish an evil minion. And then there's cards that benefit you for having evil, such as Willing Tribute. It's a minion that you can sacrifice to untap an adjacent evil ally. A little thing is that there is like some tribal synergies. Mostly it's in undead. There's things that just pump undead. There's not really too much in demons and monsters, but there's some. So that's really cool. I'm glad that they're doing that. Like, we haven't really had a supported tribal archetype in any of the previous limited formats. So really cool to see that here. All right, and then next is Ward. So Ward says, if a warded site or unit would be damaged, destroyed, or targeted by a spell or special ability from your opponent, the ward breaks instead. And then, importantly, evil minions can't be warded. I thought this was going to be like pretty annoying to track and like remember, like, oh yeah, I can't ward evil minions, but it turns out like it's pretty obvious. I don't know, like I've never really seen anyone make that mistake of like putting a ward on some like demon or something. It's like pretty clear, actually. So there's cards that just come in with wards. So, for instance, Blessed Village is just an earth site that has a ward on it. So basically, the first time it gets attacked, you just break the ward. It prevents the damage. And then Holy Warrior is just like a 2-mana, 2-power minion that has a ward. And basically, for that one, it's like you just can't use like a removal spell that targets it. The spell will just fizzle, basically, and the ward will break. Next is Collection. And I'm just going to read the text out of the codex for limited because it is different than constructed. Your collection includes all of the unplayed cards in your card pool. So if you're playing sealed, you're going to have just like 60 cards in your collection. It's not limited to 10 cards like it is in constructed. And furthermore, whenever an effect specifies a named card in your collection, you simply get one as if it were in your collection. You take it from outside your card pool, and you can use a substitute if needed. So, for instance, Peculiar Port is a water site, and it says, Genesis, you can cast a Horrible Hybrids from your collection. Even if you don't have a Horrible Hybrid in your collection, you can still pay 3 mana to cast a Horrible Hybrid. You just get like a token basically, but it acts as if it was a real card. So it like goes to the cemetery and stuff. And then there's cards like Toolbox that just say like sacrifice, and then you can cast an ordinary spell from your collection. You do actually have to have ordinary spells in your collection to cast. You can't just take a Horrible Hybrid from outside your collection and cast it, because it's not a named card. It's just saying an ordinary spell. And then the only other real thing that I thought to mention is skeletons. So there's tons of cards that make skeletons in the set. They're just 1 power undead minions, and they can't move to defend. So they can still defend on the site that they're on, and they can intercept things that move onto their site and don't attack, but otherwise they can't move and block like foot soldiers can. And then there's just a lot of cards that make them, and there's a lot of cards that benefit you for having undead minions and things, so there's going to be some synergies with that. All right, and then I think that the exceptional avatars are just very important. They are talked about a lot, so I think it's good to just mention them. Even though this is the ordinary review, we're just going to talk about the 4 exceptional avatars, because they're pretty important to like build around and just know about, give a lot of context into the format. So, all right, first up is Harbinger. So this is they're all 20 life, 1 power. They all have tap 2, player draw a site. And then Harbinger has, on setup, you determine 3 random squares. Once on your turn, you may cast a minion to one of them, and for 1 less. So one of the combos with it is like Voidwalk minion. So wherever the square that you select is, you can always cast Voidwalk minions to it. I'm not going to like grade these cards. I just want you to know about them for like build around reasons. The next one is Necromancer. This one has, once on your turn, you may pay 1 to summon a skeleton token here. So it just summons a 1 power undead skeleton token to whatever site the Necromancer is at. And then Persecutor. Once on your turn, Persecutor may step toward the closest evil or brand an enemy, so your cards treat them as evil. So for instance, Begone, like I just mentioned, you could use Persecutor's ability to make that thing that isn't evil, so that your cards treat them as evil, so then you can cast your Begone and banish any minion instead of just evil minions. And then also it just has like that free movement ability, and the thing that you're trying to do with Persecutor is really just like beat down. So it's a 2 power avatar. So this is the only one that isn't 1 power. And yeah, I think you just want to draft kind of like a low curve aggro deck. And then Savior. This one has the activate ability. You can pay 1 to ward a minion that was summoned this turn. So you cast as long as it's not an evil minion, you cast a minion, and then you can pay 1 extra mana to ward it. So you just put a ward token on top of it. So yeah, I guess with Savior, I'll just mention like most of the minions that aren't evil are in Earth. That has like the highest density of non-evil minions. So maybe like Savior is going to be pretty important in Earth when we're talking about that. Okay, anything else you want to mention about those avatars before we move on to the grading scale?
I think, yeah, for the avatars, I think Necromancer, like creating all the skeleton tokens and just creating evil every turn, has really an impact on the cards and the playability of the cards. And I must say, like, I know that Gothic has been out for a month now, but of course some people are new to Sorcery and getting into it. And so when I enter this learning phase of a new set, and if you have a new core mechanic like something as evil, the first easy question that I ask myself, like, is there a lot of evil? Like, is it easy if you have evil specific cards? How easy is it? And for me, there is a lot of evil in this set. Evil is really everywhere, and so if you have cards that work with evil, it's really easy to trigger for yourself or for your opponent. It's not even a build around, it's really stacks of evil cards. Because it has the 3 monster types or card types. If you go to a broader environment, to beta Arthurian Legends and Gothic, that is a whole different ballpark. So I think here today we will really be focusing on the Gothic environment.
Yeah, definitely keep in mind it's demon, monster, and undead. Spirits are not evil. There are a lot of spirits in the set, so those can be warded and do not count as evil. Yeah, and then also on the evil thing, it's almost exactly 50% of minions are evil in this set. So just keep that in mind. They are everywhere, as Nick said. Okay, I'm going to move on to the grading scale then. Ultimately, this is just like our pick order. So it's an A through F grading scale. A's are cards you hope to first pick, spells that push you into an overwhelming advantage when you're ahead or at parity, or they bring you back from being behind. Cards like Morgana Le Fay and the Green Knight. B's, you're still happy to first pick, spells that push your current advantage. They're efficient removal spells. They're good at breaking parities or getting 2-for-1s, Koi Nixie and Red Cat Poweries. C's are average cards. They're playable but not exciting. They're inefficient removal spells. They're vanilla minions. In most decks, I usually don't cut a C+. I usually won't cut a C, and most of my decks will have like a few C- level cards. Cards like Common Cottagers and Joust. And then D's are cards that you hopefully never play, but occasionally, when you're low on playables, might make your deck. Cards like Tax Collector or Led Astray. And then F's are cards that are completely unplayable. I'll never put them in my deck. Cards like Just a Rock or Feast for Crows. Things that just do things that don't make any sense in Limited, or they're just like sideboard cards, or basically just cards that you just don't want in your deck. And then we have a build around grade. So it's a modifier grade. If there's cards in your deck, like based on the context of cards in your deck, some cards might be like a D, but when you combine them with other cards or with a specific avatar, they can become playable cards or even really good cards. And then with that, I think we'll just get on to the actual grading. So we're going to start with Earth. And we are starting with Bless. Bless is 1 mana, 1 Earth threshold for an ordinary magic, and it says ward a nearby minion or site. This is a card that I read it, and I feel like this used to be part of the cycle where you used to be able to like cast it from your cemetery. There's a few cards like that in the set, and it probably was like that, and it was just like too busted, and they decided to just have it be a one-time effect. But 1 mana to just ward a minion is just not very good. Like, it doesn't put any bodies on the board. You already have to have a minion in play. It's like a really bad combat trick, so I just give it like a D+.
Yeah, honestly, if it would be as you said, I would actually rate it higher. But now it says even a nearby minion, and that kills it completely. So I have it as C-. I mean, you can put it in your deck and potentially you can do something with it, but yeah, it's like nah. Next one, Carrion Beetles, 1 mana, 1 power for an ordinary beast with Burrowing. Genesis ability, banish 3 cards from 1 cemetery. Straight F, I mean, it is limited. There is no really synergies yet that go hardcore with the cemetery. So yeah, just not playable. 1 power, don't play it.
Yeah, sometimes you can get like half a card of value out of it, but it's on a 1 power body, so I gave it a D-. Cemetery Rats is another 1 mana, 1 power minion. It is an ordinary beast. It has Burrowing, and it has Genesis, discard your top 2 spells. So you like mill 2 cards, basically. This one I give a D. I guess it's like maybe slightly higher because you actually know what's in your deck, and maybe you have like a bunch of cards that you can bring back from the cemetery, like the Zombie Bruiser or something, like some like really high payoff for getting things back. But even then, it's like a card that I'm not really wanting to put in my deck.
No, I agree. Next one, Eltham Townsfolk, 1 mana for a 2-part ordinary mortal. And that's it. So there are a lot of 2-part minions in this set. You want to have 2-part minions in your deck for sure. So they all have a benefit or a small benefit. Here the benefit is actually the discount in your casting cost. So I just give it a C. In beta I was lower on these cards, but I mean, it gains tempo, so I learned to appreciate it. So C is, if it fits in your deck, it's fine to play.
Yeah, I'm giving it a C-. I can actually see playing this in Savior, because Savior, one of the hard things with Savior is that you really want to play all of your minions off curve so that they all have wards on them. And this is something that you can just play on turn 2 that has a ward on it, and you get a little bit of that benefit. And it can really hurt to like wait until turn 3 to start casting minions. So I could maybe see it there. Next is Revered Revenant. This is 1 mana for a 3-power minion. It's an ordinary spirit, but it has 0 power unless adjacent to an allied ward. So it depends on how many wards you have. I think it's playable if you have like 8 or more wards in your deck, or if you're playing Savior. I think it's just good in Savior. Like it might be like a high C or a low B in Savior, but I think altogether I'm just gonna give it a D. But obviously you just need to know how many wards you have.
I give it a straight F. I think it's garbage unless you have Savior. So the difference between evil is like you cannot rely on your wards. I mean, your opponent can have spells to remove the wards and thus kill the revert Revenant. If this thing would have charge, that would be a completely different ballpark. But the fact that you have to cast it, it has to lay there for a full turn, and then you still have to be able to ward it, just makes it unplayable in Savior. It's different, of course, then it's probably somewhere C plus-ish, but even then, I don't know. Next one, Barrow White, 2 mana for a 2-part ordinary undead with Burrowing. It has 2 mana, sacrifice a skeleton token, and it says summon this minion from your cemetery to that site. So this is one of the few skeleton token make the skeletons better cards. So it's improved. You want it to die. Basically, it will upgrade all your skeletons to a 2-part minion. It is slow. So if you don't play with skeletons, this is just a burrowing 2-drop. So it's like C minus to C. With a lot of skeletons, it's probably a little bit better, but it all takes time. So it is slow. If you go for a more control side, then it's more acceptable. But it's at the maximum, it's a C plus.
All right. Yeah, I put it at C plus, assuming that you have ways to make skeletons. And then, yeah, in Necromancer, it's probably pretty good, I guess, because you just always have skeletons, but still nothing that exciting. Like, it's still just 2 mana to bring it back. Next is Entombed. This is 2 mana for a 3-power ordinary undead. It has Burrowing, and it must be cast Burrowed. I was really unsure about these at the beginning of the format, because I was like, ooh, this is pretty slow, but you do get 3 power for 2 mana. But it turns out that I think Gothic mostly does tend toward the slow side, which means that you can usually get away with casting kind of a slow minion. So I give this a C plus. Like I'm taking these pretty highly.
Yeah, I really have an issue with these cards because there are multiple. Because there is something that exists that is called Boss Troll, which is an ordinary. That is a good card. This is so far off that card, and I really have a difficult time to separate myself from it. So the Entombed is a good card if you have it on turn 2 or turn 3. It is really annoying if you have it on turn 6, 7, where you are fighting for 3-part minions, and then suddenly it's buried somewhere, and it takes so much time to be effective, and it can actually cost you the game or the strategic setup. So I give it a C. It's okay, but yeah, there is a real downside there that I'm afraid of. Next one, Gift of the Wolf, 2 mana for a double Earth Threshold, ordinary magic. Give an allied minion +2 power this turn, draw a spell. So I was a bit mystified for this because in beta you had overpower +2. But here it is more expensive, it's more difficult to cast, but it draws you a spell. And actually that makes all the difference. Because of course overpowered is a good ability, but not if it's just that one card. Here it's just a free extra. There's so many things that you can do. There's also so much movement or the potential of movement in Gothic that +2 is always good. So I don't know if I would put 3 in the deck, 2 depending on the deck, but 1 always. You will get your value out of this. So for me, it is C plus. I don't dare to go B minus, but C plus definitely.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, I have it here listed at B minus, but that's probably very high.
I don't know. I gave this card a B. It's just always good.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. I have had a couple of situations where like I really didn't ever like I had it in my hand for a while and I just never actually had the opportunity to just blow someone out with it. But I think that's pretty rare. Like there's just always gonna be some situation where there's just 2 minions in front of each other and you can just play this kill their minion, draw a card. Like, it's just a 2-for-1 for 2 mana. I think that's just way too efficient to not take very highly. So I'm really high on Gift of the Wolf. Maybe I'm a little bit too high. Okay, next is Holy Warrior. This is 2 mana, 2 power, 1 Earth threshold for an ordinary mortal. It has a ward, so it just enters with a ward on it. I give this a C+. Having a ward is nice. I don't know. Not too much else to say about this card.
Yeah, I agree. I always like very clean, simple cards, good cards. Like this is two. What else do you want from a 2-part minion? Well, this one has an extra life basically. So if you want to chump block, etc., it does it perfectly. If you have tricks, it's very good. So as a 2-part minion, it's fine. C+. Next one, Noisome 2 mana for 2-part minion, ordinary undead with a deathrite ability. Summon a skeleton token here. Minions and more minions is always good. It's also undead, so it facilitates other undead stuff. I give it a just a C. I think it's okay.
Yeah, I gave it a C+, but I am a little bit underwhelmed by the skeleton token, honestly. Yeah, I don't know what it is about it, but for some reason this skeleton token just feels like it never does anything, and then you just have a 2-power minion, and it's just a little bit mediocre. But if you have undead synergies and stuff, like, I'm sure this card's gonna be a little bit better than that. Okay, next is Virgin in Prayer. This is 2 mana, 1 Earth threshold for a 1-power ordinary mortal, and it has Genesis, ward, and allied minion. I think that's pretty powerful. I think it's still like a C or C+. I gave it a C+. You know, you can use it as a combat trick and it leaves a little body behind. And then, like, having a ward plus a 1-power minion means that you're really protecting something. Like, you have a ward plus a chump blocker for your really important minion. So, yeah, I think that's totally worth the card to me. So C+.
I'm always switching between C and C+ as well. I haven't tested myself enough to really pinpoint it. If I compare it to a lance, for instance, because often I compare war to lance, because basically when you could play a lance well, it would kill the opponent minion and your minion would be alive. So it's a bit the same with ward. The only big difference, and it's a big difference, is that of course you don't get a +1. The extra you get with ward is that it saves you being targeted. So it is different than a lance, of course. So the squires were really good in Arthurian Legends. So here I would say ward and allied minion, it's not nearby, it's anywhere on the board. So that makes it a good card. And having that one body on is a good. So to be tested, I have it currently at C+, although I never want to put it in my deck for some reason. Next one, Buried Alive. 3 mana, 2 Earth threshold for an ordinary magic. May be cast by any ally and burrow target adjacent minion. This is very easy to get and cast anywhere to somewhere that you want it to be. So the adjacent minion is not that annoying. It's just a bury. It's a good card. I give it a solid C+.
Okay, yeah, I gave this a B, but I don't know. It's just efficient removal. It's always going to be good. There's some stuff with burrowing that it can't kill, but that doesn't really come up very often. Next is Crawler. Crawler is 3 mana, 1 Earth threshold for a 3-power ordinary undead, and projectiles fly over Crawler, so it can't be hit by some of the, I guess, like fire and air removal spells. I don't think I've ever seen that actually come up, but it is an undead, which can be important. You know, not as good in savior decks, but better in the undead synergy kind of decks or just evil decks. So it's a 3 mana, 3-power minion, so I just give it a C+.
So I also want to give it a C+, but I lowered it to a C because in contrast of beta, where you didn't have that many good or simple 3-part minions, now we have a ton of them. And some are better than others. I mean, 3 mana, 3-part minions, very good. But so in comparison, I just give it a C. I think the projectiles fly over is actually very useful, and it can be used to your benefit, or it can save you. So yeah, Crawl is an okay card, C to C+. Landmass, 3 mana, 2 earth threshold for an ordinary magic. Draw a site. You may play a land site. Interesting card for limited. I would say I don't think it's playable unless you really want for some reason to go very fast to the top end. But yeah, so having a land site, that is quite easy to have. But what is always intriguing to me is like you're giving up your third turn for this. So if you're on the play, fine, you have your advantage already. But if you're on the draw and then you sacrifice your third turn, where potentially there's a second minion on the board already that you have to deal with, that is probably too difficult. And if you're going to cast this on turn 5, 6, you're already so far advanced, like, does it still matter? What are you casting for 7 mana that then the landmass makes? So for me, it's just a D.
Yeah, I originally had this set as an F, but I changed it to a D with like kind of a build around grade as well. Like I have seen like there are decks that are just full of expensive minions, like Harbinger type decks. Like Harbinger, I think you want to build like ideally like Earth, Water, like expensive stuff where there's like Shoggoths and Undesirable and the 10-ton Slug and all these really expensive cards. And like maybe this fits into that deck, but even then, I don't think it's particularly good. Like in Limited, we talk all the time about getting 2-for-1s, card advantage, and that's really like spell advantage, not just sites on board. Like they don't do that much for you. So, yeah, like spending 3 mana to draw a site and like giving up a spell for a site is just not really what you want to be doing. Like it doesn't put any board, like any bodies on board or anything. So I gave this a D, but it built around like C-, which is like maybe in a Harbinger deck that I was low on playables or something, or had just like extremely high curve, then maybe I would actually play this. Okay, Night Watchman is next. This is 3 mana, 1 earth threshold for a 3 power ordinary mortal. It has Genesis, ward this site. So yeah, you just put a ward token on one of your sites, and that seems pretty good. It saves you a little bit of life later in the game if they have to attack that site. Like that's the avenue that they're attacking you from. So it's just 3 mana, 3 power minion again with a decent amount of upside. Like this is probably more upside than the crawler, I would say. So I give this one a C+ as well.
I also have it as C+. I think when I first saw this card, I was like, whoa, this is really amazing. It's for free. You get a ward for free and a 3-part body with such an easy casting cost, like a 1 threshold. But the funny thing is, the reality is when I play this card, the award rarely matters. Because Gothic is still a push and pull game where basically you will overthrow your opponent, and that ward actually never matters, that 2-3 points of damage. Often what I see is that warded side just sits there for the whole game, and you build your realm and they will just attack other sides and it doesn't do anything. So I came down to it. So I think it's still good because there's a card that is called Holy Nova that can actually sacrifice a ward. So it is upside. Ward is good. I mean, perhaps the side will be attacked if it's in a key position. So it's just free, but it's less good than I originally thought, but still C+ for sure. Next one, Penitent Knight, 3 mana for 3-part minion, 1 earth threshold. This is also one of the box toppers for your collection. It's an ordinary mortal. That's it. Yeah, just a C. I don't mind putting in my deck. 3-part is good.
Yeah, I wasn't too far behind you. I did lower this one to a C, and part of the reason is Earth has just 3 other minions that are just better at it. They're just better than it. Like it actually just has 4 3 mana 3 power minions at ordinary. And if you remember, like Arthurian Legends had 0 3 mana 3 power minions at ordinary, and that was like a huge problem for Earth in that set. So really glad to see them kind of fixing that problem and just giving like every element at least has 1 3 mana 3 power minion. So yeah, I just give this one a C. Nothing too much to talk about it. Search Party is 3 mana, 2 earth threshold for a 3 power ordinary mortal, and it has +1 power for each search party in your cemetery. So I've actually seen people like first picking these and trying to like build the search party thing, and they always tell me like, yeah, I first picked it and I just never saw another one. It's so funny, but yeah, I think these are mostly just 3 mana for 3 power. But I will give it a C plus because I will draft it higher than some of the other ones because of the fact that if you get two of them, then sometimes this will be 3 mana for 4 power, and it's not really going to go too much beyond that. But it's still a good amount of upside, and it's like this little mini game, so I like it.
I think we all feel it. I mean, I want to do it from day one, but the funny thing is, it never happens. So I actually have it only as a C, because it's just annoying threshold to Earth. So if you are in two colors with Earth, then it just as the others. I think it's good, and then it goes to C plus for me if you have three of them. But then you also have to realize you have to draw. Like, when will this happen? Like, the first one has to be cast, then it has to die, and then you have to draw the second one and play it, and then it's a 4-part minion, which is good, but nah. And so with the third one, it's really good, but then you're already so far ahead in the game that, I mean, what are the chances that that actually will happen? So probably you need like to have like 5 in your deck to really get it to B minus B, whatever. So, but I love the card, and I was there when it was revealed in the Netherlands. Great art as well from Matthias. Next one, Monks of Kobalsa. 4 mana for 4 power, 2 earth threshold. Ordinary mortals can't be modified except by wards. So, just to clarify, modified, it just means that it cannot get plus or minus stuff. So, yes, it can be borrowed. And of course, wards can be cast onto it, which is actually a good upside, because if this would not be able to be warded, then it would actually be... so there is nothing bad about this. Actually, it's just a plus. This is the brown bears of Earth, actually, and we all love brown bears. So I have it as... I was first had it as a C+, but I still think I go to B minus to potentially B, because 4-part minions for 4 are just very good.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like, I wish that this was more of an upside, but like looking through everything, like it's mostly a downside, which is really weird. Like, you would not think that when you read this card, but like it can't be disabled. That's probably the biggest upside. And then another upside is that it can't be silenced. Like, if it has a ward on it and they play like the Silent Hills, whatever, the site that silences your minion, usually that would break the ward, but this guy is protected from that because that's a modification. There's not that many things that disable minions. Like, Monster Morphosis is the only one at Ordinary or Exceptional, I think, and that card's just never really going to get pointed at this thing anyway. But yeah, this also can't gain Stealth. It can't gain +1 power from the Mayor of Milborn, which is like an elite. It can't gain power from Gift of the Wolf. I think it can't gain like lethal from Gift of the Serpent or any of that stuff. So it's like mostly a downside, which is really weird to me. But anyway, yeah, it's just an incredible minion still. I give it a B minus. Smite is next. This is 4 mana, 2 earth threshold for an ordinary magic. It may be cast by any ally. Strike target adjacent enemy. If it's evil, banish it instead. This card just keeps going up in my pick order. Like, there's just so much evil, and so much of the evil is the stuff that you want to be pointing Smite at. And also, like, this is a way to deal the death blow in Earth. So all that stuff really wraps up into like a really important card. And because there's just not that many effects like this in Earth, I give this a B. Like, I might even take this over a Monks just because it's such a unique effect. Although it would be pretty hard to do. So maybe it's a B minus. I don't know, somewhere in there.
No, I agree. I also have it as a B, and actually a very solid and high B. Because just if I think back about these cards, every time I have it, like the times I have it, like, phew, I have a smite. I mean, there's so many annoying evil minions, like big dudes, and you just banish them. And like the banishing effect is also very relevant. Like all these guys that summon other ghouls and tokens and whatever, it's like, nope, I spied it, banish it, see you later. And yeah, if it's not evil, it's still very decent. So yeah, I mean, if you look at Gothic, there are not that many just very simple remove effects. And in the whole realm of removal, Smite is extremely good. So the only downside, I would say, it's expensive for, but for some reason, like if it's 3 or 4, most of the time it's your full turn. And being able to remove a 6-part minion from the board or 5-part minion, it's just worth it. Also, you can cast it nearly everywhere. It's not that difficult most of the time. So yeah, great card. Next one, Zombie Horde, 5 mana, 5-part minion for 1 Earth threshold. It's an ordinary undead, can't move to defend, aka the zombie Amazon warrior. Or that is how I see it in my mind. Amazon Warriors, if you haven't played beta, they were amazing. They were just the deal of beta. Have X amount of Amazon Warriors, it makes your deck better. The Zombie Hordes, it's just the same thing. It just hits so hard. 5 mana for 5-part minion with an easy threshold. That is what I want to have. The can't move to defend is a little bit annoying. But the strength of this card, it will just hit or kill anything you put around. So I think it's fantastic. So I have it as a B minus. Yeah, great card.
All right, yeah, I gave it a B. It does feel like Amazon Warriors. Like, you can't move to defend. That can be annoying, but once you have a 5-power minion in play, like, you want to just be attacking with it every turn, most likely. So, not that big of a downside, but it is a real downside. All right, the last card in Earth before we move to Fire is Undesirables. This is 6 mana for 5 power, 1 Earth threshold. It is an ordinary demon. It has burrowing, and allies can't enter this site. So we have another 5-power minion here. You have to pay 1 extra mana for it. It has burrowing, and then has this kind of weird downside. Importantly, like, allies can't enter its site, but it can enter allies' sites, so it can still block for your other stuff. If there's something already on the site, then it can block for this still, but the main downside is that things outside of its site can't move to block for this guy, which obviously you want to be blocking if they're trying to kill your 5-power minion. But I haven't felt like it's that big of a downside. And the format has been pretty slow, like I mentioned. But I have been devaluing these expensive cards because there's just kind of a lot of them. Like, we have a 4 mana 4 power, a 5 mana 5 power, and then, like, if you're also in water, then there's just like a bunch of cards just like this. But I still give it like a C+, but it depends on, like, what is your curve currently. If you don't have anything on the expensive end, then you probably want to be taking this. If your deck already has like a bunch of slugs and zombie hordes and stuff, then you really don't need this. So somewhere, yeah, depends on your deck. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I also had this as a C+. I think you convinced me to Zombie Horde to upgrade to a B. So then perhaps the Undesirables are nearing that B minus because it's still a 5-part body, easy to cast, and yes, it's only 1 extra. But I do agree that 1 extra, I mean, you probably as well, I never want to draw sides. I really want to use my avatar. So that is 2 extra turns in comparison to the Zombie Horde. That is a big difference, those 2 turns. So yeah, but it's still a good body. Okay, then I think we are at the end of our Earth and we start with Fire. But as always, you may start.
Okay. The first card is Detonate. This is 1 mana, 1 fire threshold for an ordinary magic. Destroy a minion or artifact you own or control. It explodes, dealing 3 damage to each unit at its location. So usually you're just killing your own thing and dealing 3 damage. So it's like a minor explosion, I guess. But you have to give up a minion in order to cast this. So I think if you're playing Necromancer, you should play this card because you're just gonna have free minions that you're happy to detonate. But in any like normal deck where you just have like a bunch of 2 to like 6 mana minions, like, you don't want to be blowing them up to deal damage. So I give this like a D in the average deck, but I give it like a B in Necromancer. Like, I think it's pretty powerful in Necromancer specifically, but I wouldn't play it outside of that.
Okay. Yeah, same. D, build run, I did more or less C+. But yeah, it's decent if you have plenty of stuff that you can blow up. Next one, Ghost Fire, 1 mana, 1 fire threshold, ordinary magic. Shoot a projectile that deals 1 damage. And then you may cast this spell from your cemetery, banishing it afterwards. So this is one of those spells that lets it be cast twice. I'm still not super high on this. I think I gave it a C. I mean, dealing 1 damage is good, but it's a projectile, so you need to have your spellcaster there. I mean, if it's in your cemetery, it's a potential finisher, but still you're... So, yeah, I think it's playable, but I'm not super high on it.
All right. I gave it a C+. I have been kind of impressed by this card. Like, it's better than it looks, I think. Like, you can just spend 2 mana to deal 2 damage, and you probably just got a 1-for-1, like, kill their 2-power minion, whatever. It can also kill skeletons, which you don't really want to be doing that with this, but it can also break wards, which is a lot more important. So it's fine, but not really a high pick. I think for Detonate, we should also mention, like, I guess if you have some artifacts, this is a way to, I guess, like, protect your artifacts. Like, if they end up stealing your Blade of Thorns or something, then you can pay 1 to detonate it, but I don't know. Just something to keep in mind, I guess. Not really going to change the grade. Okay, Granary Rats is next. This is 1 mana, 1 fire threshold for a 1 power ordinary beast. This site doesn't provide threshold. So I guess, so there is one use case for this. Like, if you have water on your side and they have something submerged under your site, you could play that on that site and it would kill the minion. But that's never going to happen. Like, when has your opponent ever had a submerged minion on your side of the board? So yeah, I just give this like a D-. You should just not play this card.
Wow, I applaud your creativity to find that. For me, it's straight F. Never play these cards. Which leads us into Grief Larvae, 1 mana for 1 powered minion, ordinary monster with burrowing. At the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to this site. I have this as a D, or potentially a build around C+, but that should be like if you really have a very extreme burn deck or a super fast where like you only want to do 8 damage to your opponent and the rest you deal with it. But unfortunately, this is Gothic and I don't think that deck actually exists. So I think it's just unplayable.
Yeah, I think cards like Entombed like really hurt this card. Like there are just minions that just enter burrowed that are just gonna kill this pretty freely. I don't know.
Yeah, but next to that, it's only 1 damage a turn in the best scenario. So the best scenario you can attack with it, and it's two. But nah.
Yeah, I give it a D+. I'm not really wanting to play this either. All right, One Shot Wizard is next. This is 1 mana, 1 fire threshold for a 1 power ordinary mortal. It has Genesis, shoot a projectile that deals 1 damage or gain spellcaster this turn. So this is like a worse version of the Ghostfire, I think. Like, it can break a ward and leave a 1 power minion, but you know how much we hate 1 power minions, so I'm gonna give this like a C-. I guess it's like barely playable, but I don't really want to be taking it.
Same, I have it as C-. Don't want to play with it, but if you have it in your hand, you'll probably find a way to do something with it. Next, Profane Revenant, 1 mana for 3 powered minion, 1 fire threshold, ordinary spirit. Has 0 power unless adjacent to an evil ally. So I think this one is a little bit better than our Urge friends with wards, because evil is just easier to get. But still, I don't like the feeling of control. Like my opponent can misuse this. So in a build round with if every minion is evil with Necromancer, then it's probably more to a C to C+. But I have it as a D+ to C-. I don't think I put it in my deck.
All right, yeah, this one I gave a D, just like I did with the other one, but the build around I gave it was like a C, because I think it's like not as high of an upside. Like the Profane Revenant, you want to put a ward on it, and then it's 2 mana for a 3 power warded minion, whereas this is just going to be a 3 power minion. But it is a lot easier to activate. I think I would play this in Necromancer because you just have tons of undead skeletons everywhere. To note, this doesn't work with Persecutor. That was a card that, like, I just assumed that this would work with that, but this says it has to be an evil ally, and Persecutor only makes your opponent's things evil, so that just doesn't actually line up in any way. All right.
But the question is, like, how many adjacent evils do you want to feel safe with this card? Like, if you have just one evil ally next to it, like, if they can kill that evil thing, this is just a zero power minion. So,
Yeah. Okay, Flaming Skull is next. This is 2 mana, 1 fire threshold for a 2 power ordinary undead. It has Airborne and Fire Spellcaster. I give this a C+. 2 mana, 2 power Airborne is pretty good. Like, you can pick off some skeleton tokens or whatever. It can't just be attacked directly, so it's kind of immune to like combat tricks and stuff. Yeah, it's just fine.
Yeah, I guess C plus is correct. I was first like, wow, this is a fire spellcaster, but the reality is that there are not that many fire spells that you want to be next to something, etc. But as you say, it's an airborne minion. It's easy, it's simple, so C plus seems correct. Next one, Gift of the Serpent. 2 mana, 2 fire threshold, ordinary magic. Give an allied minion lethal this turn, draw a spell. So this is in the same series as the wolf. Every element has them. This one gives lethal. I like it. I think it's more difficult than the wolf. The wolf always gives +2 power, and you can also attack sides with it. But there are some instances where you really just want to have that lethal to, for instance, with that Flaming Skull, there it's really good because you have annoying flying stuff and you draw your spell back. So you basically, this is just be able to kill a better thing for free. So I will not put 2 in the deck, but if I have the room, I don't mind putting 1. And every time I did, I actually was happy with it. So I just have it as a C+.
All right, yeah, I gave this one a C+ as well. In Necromancer, I think it's like a B because giving a skeleton lethal is like pretty amazing. So yeah, nice little build around there. Ignited is 2 mana for a 3 power, 1 fire threshold, ordinary undead. It has charge, but it dies at the end of your turn. So this is basically a removal spell. It's 2 mana, deal 3 damage to something, and the downside is that they might have a blocker. If they have a blocker, then you just basically can't use this card. They're just gonna like block with their skeleton or their random 1 power minion or something. But it's still like pretty efficient. Like 2 mana to deal 3 damage is a lot. So I give it a C+.
Yep, completely agree. Next one, Lesser Blood Demon, 2 mana for 3-powered minion, 1 fire threshold, ordinary demon. Genesis, lose 2 life. So this is probably the one that comes closest to the boss troll, and it's in fire. So yeah, I have it as a C+. I like the cards. Losing the 2 life can be annoying, like not in the beginning, but at a certain moment it could be really annoying, but still you get a 3 body for cheap. So C+ for me.
Yeah, I gave this a C+ as well. The more aggressive your deck is, the less you care about the life loss. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Like, this is better in like the Persecutor aggro decks, but it's going to be fine in most decks. But if you have some weird fire deck that is trying to be defensive, like maybe you're like 80% water, only a little bit of fire, then maybe you don't want this so much, but it's going to be just a fine minion most of the time. Noxious Corpse is 2 mana, 1 fire threshold for a 2 power ordinary undead, and it has lethal. So this is like a scorpion from beta. It is undead, so it's evil. It has the undead synergies. These are just like really good at trading up, so I think they're pretty premium 2-drops, the 2 power lethal minions. So I give this one a C+ as well. Happy to have it.
I was so happy that they brought the Scorpions back. Couldn't believe it. I was like, whoa, because I love the Scorpions. I think in beta they were one of the best 2-drops you could wish for. But of course, there you had the grapple shot, etc. Here you don't. On the contrary, here you have wards. So sometimes the lethal is just not good enough. But given that, I mean, it's still an easy to cost 2 mana, 2-powered minion with lethal. That's amazing. So it's a high C plus for me. I want to have as many of these in my deck. Next one, Vandal Imp, 2 mana for 1-powered minion, 1 fire threshold, ordinary demon with a Genesis ability, destroy a random artifact. So I think it's bad. I think it's a D. I don't want to play with it, although I do like the effect. So this is actually the perfect card for your collection. I mean, if your opponent has an annoying artifact like a pitchfork or whatever, this is actually something what you really want to have. But I don't want to main deck it. So yeah, it's not even build route. It's really just for the collection. Then I would happy to have it. But of course, then you have to have the cards that can get it from your collection. I will never just put it in my deck, I think.
Yeah, I would never play this either. I'll give it a D, but yeah, I'm never putting it in a deck. But yeah, good collection card. Yeah, we should try to call those out when we see them. Wild Fanatic is 2 mana, 1 fire threshold for a 2-power ordinary mortal with charge. Pretty good. I mean, the one thing that kind of sucks with this, like we're used to like the 3 mana and 4 mana charge minions. The 2 mana charge minions are a little bit weaker because if you're on the play, this just doesn't do anything on turn 2. It's just a 2 mana 2-power vanilla minion. And I don't really want to like hold this in hand and wait for an opportunity to like kill a skeleton or something. So I'm probably just going to play it on turn 2, and it's just going to be kind of bad. So I just give it like a C+. And then I wanted to call out, like, Portland Stew made a video about this, and I hadn't realized this about this card earlier. So with Savior, you can actually ward this card twice, because Savior's ability is just an activated ability that says you ward a minion that was cast this turn. So it's not like when you cast it, you pay 1. So you can, like, cast this for 2 mana, pay 1 to ward it with Savior, and then attack. It loses the ward if it like takes damage, and then you can pay 1 to ward it again. That's kind of a cool little thing.
Wow, I didn't know. That's amazing. Yeah, I agree with the C plus. I even give it a high C plus as well. I mean, charge is always strong. It's in the beginning good. It's in the end good. It can surprise your opponent. So yeah, B minus is probably too high, but yeah, charge is amazing. Next one, Enraged Familiar, 3 mana for 2-powered minion, 1 fire threshold. Ordinary demon has +2 power if you've lost life this turn. Perhaps you tell me otherwise. I think this card is bad. It's too expensive. I mean, in the best scenario, it's a 3 mana for 4-powered minion. Then it's amazing. But it's difficult to control. I don't see it. I will never put it in my deck.
All right, so yeah, that's what I thought at first too. So I gave this like a D+ normally. And yeah, if you look, like there's like some ways to lose life, like the Lesser Blood Demon, there's like Searing Truth yourself, or there's like a few cards that do like an incidental, like one time you'd lose life. But the real combo with this is Persecutor, because it can take a step toward this, it can take a step toward your enemy,
Sure.
whatever. It's like pretty easy to attack your opponent's stuff with Persecutor, and then you lose life when Persecutor attacks a minion. So then it's in that deck, I think it's pretty easy to make this thing 4 power like every turn. It is still just going to be 2 power on your opponent's turn, though, and that's a pretty big downside. So I think it's like a build around like C+ or B-, but I think it is playable in Persecutor.
Yeah, well, I didn't mention it, but I also had it as a build around C+, but even then I think it's quite slow. I mean, when Persecutor is actually attacking, this is not on turn 3.
Yeah,
So, and if we're talking more about turn 6, I would guess. And by then you have other things that have 4 part or whatever that are more consistent. And yeah, so yeah, still I don't like it.
Okay, and then Flame Strike is next. This is 3 mana, 2 fire threshold for an ordinary magic. Choose a cardinal direction from the caster, deal damage to each unit at affected locations. So it's 1 step in front of the caster, deals 3 damage, and then it's like the Cone of Flame. It deals 1 damage to like the 3 sites kind of in front of that site. So yeah, this one's good. Like it can get 2 for 1s. It has a big range. Like if you're trying to deal the death blow, it's gonna be pretty hard to get away from this card. Yeah, I like this card a lot. I'm gonna give it a B.
Yeah, I had it as a B minus. It's always good. Like if you have a flaming skull, this is actually the card that you want. That makes it super easy. Then it's always good to get value, and it reaches far. So I had it as B minus. Yeah, it doesn't often happen that you will be able to kill two things with it, but in the realm of skeleton tokens, this actually is, yeah, it's just a great card. Next one, Hellhound, 3 mana for 3-part minion, 1 fire threshold, so as an ordinary demon. So this is also one of the box stoppers that can be summoned also from the collection. It's just 3-part 3 mana minion. It's a good card, and I rate those as a C.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this one a C plus because this is the only 3 mana 3 power minion in fire. And one thing that you'll learn about this format as you go is there's just a lot of 3 power minions going around, and you need to have them in your deck to be able to fight your opponent's stuff. So I think this one you do unfortunately have to take a little bit higher than the other ones just because of that fact.
Yeah, but it's true. But so I'm just comparing like all the 3-part minions, and then this is feels more like a C. But of course, if I just look at fire, as what you say is probably true, you need to have them. But the effect is just it's just a vanilla 3-part minion.
Okay, Lash is next. 3 mana, 1 fire threshold for an ordinary magic. Deal 1 damage to target nearby minion and untap it. This is the card that every once in a while there's a card that I'm like, man, I wish that this drew a card. And that usually means that it's not a very good effect because it's not worth a full card. Yeah, maybe in like some like really aggressive decks, maybe you want this, but even then, like you'd rather just have a minion to put on board or something. So I give this like a D plus. I don't really want to be playing this. Like technically you can like break a ward or kill a skeleton, but like you don't want to be paying 3 mana and a card just to do that. So yeah, what do you think?
If it has a solid D, and again, it's that word nearby. Like if that word would not be there, and you could cast it anywhere, then it's probably really playable and probably good in an aggro deck. But now it's just nope, not for me. Next one, Martyrs of Tomorrow, 3 mana for 2-part minion, 1 fire threshold, ordinary mortal, with a deadite ability, ward an allied minion. I don't like the cards. I rate it as a D plus to perhaps C minus. If I play against it, it is a little bit annoying. Like you have to think about it, but it's the impact is rarely that high for a 3 parts minion. So I don't like the cards. What about you?
Yeah, unfortunately, Fire got 2 3 mana 2 power minions and only 1 3 mana 3 power minion. And I just don't think that the 3 mana 2 power minions are very good. Like they just have a lot of control of when this thing is gonna die. They might be able to like kill your non-evil minions first and then kill this or something. Like it's just like the most obvious little combat trick ever. So I give it a C minus. Like I said, there's just tons of 3 power minions. This is just gonna die without actually trading for anything, and then you're just left with a crappy ward.
Mitch, perhaps we are guilty because I think we made like 5 or 10 videos in beta on Arthurian Legends, always telling how deep fire was and how good. So I think we got a little correction in Gothic.
Next is Trial by Fire. This is 3 mana, 1 fire threshold for an ordinary magic. It may be cast by any ally. Deal 3 damage to target nearby minion. Really importantly, this does not deal the death blow. It only deals with minions, and it only hits 1 minion at that location. So it's only ever going to be a 1-for-1. Like maybe it helps one of your things trade up or something, like a skeleton plus this can kill a monks or something, but definitely a lot worse than the flame strike. Like you can never get a 2-for-1 with it basically. So I'm still gonna give it like a B minus, but it might be trending toward like C plus honestly, because it just kills like all of the 3 mana 3 power minions. So it's just okay.
I have it as a C plus, and I agree with everything that you say. But here, the word nearby is actually relevant because you may, by default, cast it from an ally. So basically, you can kill anything most of the time. And the nearby minion can be like a surprise effect. So a minion that is nearby from the other side can cast it. Perhaps it can remove something that was also meant as a blocker, and thus you still can get your extra advantage. So I think it's a good card. C plus 2, B minus seems. I mean, I want to have 2 of these in my deck. That is for sure. Next one, Angry Mob, 4 mana for a 3-part minion, 2 Fire Threshold Ordinary Mortals with a Genesis ability, kill target adjacent, unique, or elite minion. I love this card. Never ever was I able to kill an adjacent, unique, or elite minion, but just the fact that it exists makes me smile all the time, and I never put it in my deck. So I have it as a C minus, but I mean, we all know that your opponent has at least one elite or unique minion in his deck. But do you want to wait on it? If you can have 4 mana and nothing else to do, will you not just cast it? Yes. So I think it's just 9 out of 10 or potentially more. It is just an expensive 3-part minion. And that's why I have it as a C minus. But please share all the stories you have killing crazy uniques and winning the game because of Angry Mob. Also, a great, great collection card. Like, if you can get it, I always want to have it in my collection.
Yeah, if you have Toolbox, yeah, this card's really good. Yeah, so I gave it a C. Yeah, we're pretty close. Like, I haven't seen it kill an elite or unique in limited yet. I think it's a little bit better in sealed because people are more likely to be playing the element that they have the most elite and unique minions in. So like maybe on average they'll have like 2 targets for it instead of 1 target for it. Like, I don't know, that doesn't change it a whole lot, but I would probably try playing it in sealed. Just like, I don't know. I think it's playable. Like, it's fine. This is probably like more of a controversial card. Like, some people are just gonna absolutely love this card and think it's amazing, and there's like, it has a really decent floor and has like this super high ceiling. Like, if you ever get to kill something with this, like, you just win the game probably. So is that worth the risk? Not really sure. But I think it's like on the fringe playable because of that really high ceiling. Okay, next.
It's also one of these cards that will frustrate me. Like, the question always, like, do I have to play it? Do I have to keep it? And then the moment that you play it, it will cost an elite, etc. It's like, yeah, Angry Mob, right?
Okay, next is Flare. This is 4 mana, 3 power, 2 fire threshold. It's an ordinary demon, and it deals 1 damage to each other nearby unit. So probably 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to play this nearby your avatar, and you'll take 1 damage. So I guess don't play it if you're on death's door. It also kills skeletons. It breaks wards. It allows your stuff to trade up sometimes. And I think that all comes together to be like kind of a playable card. Like, I think it's like a C to C plus. I gave it a C plus.
Oh, wow. I have Layer as a B minus. I think it's amazing. Because there's so many ways where that 1 extra damage makes the trade viable, and the fact that as you say, it removes all the wards and it kills all the skeletons. So versus Necromancer, if you don't have like a savior or something else, Flare is actually something that can a little bit reset all the madness that comes from the skeleton token. So yeah, I like Flare a lot. I think it's a good card. As you say, I don't want to just cast it 4 mana 3-part minion and kill 1 skeleton. For me, it's more like a combat trick. Like, it can really, it has to do more than this. And then I think it's really a B minus, and it really has that potential. Next one, Ravenous Werewolf, 5 mana for a 3-part, 1 fire threshold ordinary monster. It has charge and it has movement +1. These are probably one of the things that I like most of a card combined. Charge is amazing, movement +1 is amazing, 3-part is amazing, 5 mana is not amazing. So the thing is, if you can cast these cards, it is really good. But it is expensive. So I think it's actually very good card design. So currently I have it as a C+, because most of the time when it is played, it is really good. And I mean, once it's there, the movement +1 is amazing. It's 3-part. Yeah, I like the cards, but it is expensive. How do you see it?
Yeah, I landed on C plus as well. Like, yeah, it is a really nice balanced card. I feel like I gave C plus to like every fire card, but yeah, like, I don't know. It's just gonna come in and it's gonna deal 3 damage. Like, it's pretty hard to play this and not be able to attack a site for free, or if they have a 2-power minion that's sitting on its own, like, yeah, it can kill it. Like, it does the thing. Like, it's pretty effective at doing what it does. It's just like a little bit inefficient. So I don't know. Yeah, I think it's a great card. Like, I'm really happy to play it. I think it's like probably a high C plus, because there's like this is the most expensive card in Fire.
It's like with the cavalry, like in Arthurian Legends and in beta. I mean, those are very good cards for 4 mana. So for that 1 extra mana, you get the plus movement 1. It will most of the time always kill 2-power minions. So yeah, the card is good. It's just like, yeah, can you get there? Probably. Have you lost the game by then? Perhaps.
Okay, and then we're moving on to water. So the first card is Freeze. This is 1 mana, 1 water threshold for an ordinary magic. Disable target nearby minion until your next turn. So I guess it's like a bad combat trick, kind of. Like, yeah, maybe you can get a 1-for-1 with it, but you have to attack with one of your minions. Like, there's a setup cost to even get the 1-for-1. If you're just using this to disable a minion to save them from attacking you for 1 turn, that's not worth a card. So it's like a D to D plus. I don't know, something like that. You should probably just never play this card.
Yeah, I agree. Here also, nearby minion, like, come on. If it would say nearby minion from an ally, then I think it could get to the C range. But even then, the setup is just too difficult, although the upside is there. Next one, Lure Ordinary Magic. An ally tempts an enemy minion at a nearby site into taking a step closer. It's a combat trick. Movement, as always, is strong. So it's an open question to me, these cards. I rate it now as a C minus. I think they're just better cards. But will you be able to lure a minion in and get advantage? Probably. So I don't say it's really a bad card, but I think they're just other better cards.
All right, yeah, I gave it a D, but yeah, you probably... It's kind of like Freeze. Like, there's ways that you can get a 1-for-1, and then it's like kind of efficient. It's only 1 mana, but again, like, you probably have to attack with one of your minions, and that is a cost. So yeah, it's just a fine card. I probably don't ever want to be playing it, but it's probably fine if you do. Sarava Townsfolk. This is the 1 mana, 2 power, 1 water threshold, ordinary mortal. Yeah, this is just a 2-power minion, so I guess again in Savior maybe I could see playing it, but I don't know. I think I gave the other one like a C minus or a D plus. It's somewhere in that range.
Yeah, I also have this one, same as the other one, as a C, because I got respect for the 1 mana. I think, yeah, your other comment about the Savior, this is also here true, of course. But it's just vanilla, so C is okay for me. Next one, Sewer Rats, 1 mana, 1 power, 1 water threshold, ordinary beast. May be cast under any site, burrowing, and submerge. This is true for me for all the rats. They're just bad. 1 power, burrowing, submerged, no impact there. Solid D. I never play with these cards.
Yeah, I gave this one a D minus. I've actually like seen people playing these, and I'm not really sure why. Like, I don't know. Like, they only deal 1 damage. Like, they're never gonna trade for one of my minions. Like, I don't know. These are just bad. You should not play them. Drowned is next. This is 2 mana, 1 water threshold for a 3 power ordinary undead. It has Submerge, and it must be cast Submerge. So this is the 2 mana, 3 power for water. So every element has one, and I think this one's fine too. Like, this one's probably like a C because you're a little bit more restricted on it. But 2 mana for 3 power is a real thing. If you can build a deck that can survive, and this trades for one of their 3 mana, 3 power minions, probably with an ability or something, then you're going to be pretty happy about it. So I give it a C.
Yeah, I also have it as a C. Water is more restrictive than land, and the same is true as my other comments. In the beginning, it's fine. Later in the game, it's just too slow to my taste. Next one, Gift of the Frog, 2 mana for 2 water threshold, ordinary magic. Summon a frog token to an allied minion, draw a spell. It's in that same series, 2 mana cantrip. This one actually summons a frog token, and frog tokens are useful because they can chump block, so you can save a minion. They can be transformed into others. Most of the time, it is just a blocker, I think. Um, yeah, I just gave it a C to C minus because the other ones, like giving +2 power, it can trade, kill a minion. The other one gives lethal, it can kill minions. This one, it just can block, so it's more defensive. So I don't see it here. If it's just only for cantrip, then there are better cards. I mean, if I don't have anything else to do, I don't mind to have a free frog. It's fine, but it's just not that impactful, I think.
Yeah, to note, you can always cast this spell even if you don't have an allied minion, you just don't get the frog. So super high floor, like it's always gonna at least draw you another card. It does have 2 water threshold, I guess that's kind of annoying. I give it a C plus. I mean, chump blockers are nice, like they will affect combat. Yeah, I don't know, not too much else to say about it. And there's some synergies with it, of course, that we'll get to. Instigator Imp is 2 mana, 1 water threshold for a 1 power ordinary demon. It has Genesis. Make 2 enemy minions at target nearby location fight each other. So to note, this targets the location. So if there's 2 enemies with wards on a site, you can still target the site if the site doesn't have a ward. I guess you could even just target a site even if there weren't any enemies there, probably. So that's cool, I guess. This is probably going to be another controversial card because I've seen some people like really like this card. I'm not really that big of a fan. Like I don't know. Like it's super powerful if it works. Like this is another one of those like collection cards to me, like the Vandal Imp. Like if you ever have a toolbox and you can cast an Instigator Imp and get a kill 2 of their things with it, like that's going to be crazy, but I just don't really see that happening very often. So I still give it a C. I think if I'm like low on interaction, and water is an element that can be low on interaction, then this will be okay. But it also like can't make your own thing fight their thing. Like it has to be 2 enemies on a site that isn't warded, that have like equal power ideally, and then they'll kill each other. Like you might just get one minion to kill another one of their minions, and then that's not that impressive anyway. But yeah, I don't know. I give it a C. What do you think?
I'm already looking forward to our next matchup because I'm higher on this card. I think it's just annoying that this card exists because 2 things I want to say about in general, but that's for another video, I think. But I think Gothic is way more complex than Arthurian Legends of Beta, which means that I find myself often in a very tricky, complex situation, minions versus minions. Common number 1. Common number 2 is people have evolved. I don't see the T-shapes anymore in limited. They always go very block heavy because they have learned how to defend each other. So that means everything is more compact. So 2 things will happen: or somebody steamrolls the other one, then this is a bad card. Otherwise, but you get steamrolled anyway. Otherwise, it's some kind of stalemate situation, and more often than not, it is often that people put 2 minions on the same thing. Even if I mean, the ideal scenario is if they're both 3-part minion, they will kill each other. But even if it's a 4-part minion and a 3-part minion, and they fight each other, 3-part, and that 4-part minion only has 1 life left, I think it's a tricky card. I think you can do nasty things with it. It will not always be good, but when it's good, it will really hurt your opponent. So I like it. So I have it as a C+.
Okay.
Next one, Muddy Pix. 2 mana for a 2-part minion, 1 water threshold ordinary beast. With a Deathrite ability, you heal 3. This is a good card. Of all the 2-part minions, it's very simple. And I think it's well balanced because in the beginning, you're about at 20 life. But just getting free 3 life from a 2-part minion that you want to play anyway, that is pure upside. And 3 life is a lot, actually. Like, you go down in steps of 3, so if one just gets nullified, so to speak, it can matter who can push harder due to picks. Let's say if you have two of these, that is 6/5. So I like the card. It gets a very solid C plus for me.
Okay, yeah, I gave it a C. I think if you're in Earth Water, like that's the slowest deck, I think. And that's the deck that I think can use this the most effectively. Like they really do just want to survive an extra 1 or 2 turns for them to be able to play their big things and stabilize. So I think I wouldn't really want this in like water air or water fire as much if I'm doing like the aggro plan. Like I don't know, the healing 3 probably doesn't matter too much in those kinds of decks, but water is a slow element, so I think in like probably most water decks maybe you do just want this effect. But still not like a high pick or anything, but a C. Return to Nature is 2 mana, 1 water threshold for an ordinary magic. Return up to 3 cards from a cemetery to the bottom of their decks. Draw a spell. I don't know, like there's a lot of cemetery stuff going on, but I haven't felt the need to like put a Return to Nature just to have some cemetery hate. So it's still just cycles, and every once in a while you will actually nab something with it. So I give it a C. It's fine.
Yeah, I just give it a D. I think it's not worth the space in my deck. I just want to do other stuff. I do not just to pay 2 mana for something that probably will never have its effects. So it's not good enough. Now my brain has to say there is like this build arounds, and then it's in the B range because this is your infinite deck. If you have 2 Return to Natures, you can actually cycle your best 3 cards forever and ever, and you can just deck your opponent. So this is potentially one of the most broken cards, but I would just say sometimes we have to act as adults. Do not go for games that will last for 2 hours. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. That is every time I see this card in draft, this is what I tell myself: do not do it. Anyway, Sea Witch. 2 mana for a 2-part minion, 1 water threshold, ordinary merfolk, spellcaster, submerge. Yeah, not much to say here. I just give it a C. Spellcaster is actually important for some cards that actually need a spellcaster to unlock or activate it. So I see them more as a build around to C+. Overall, spellcaster is not that amazing, although with some fire cards, the casting spells can matter. The submerge part doesn't matter that much. So C to C+.
Yeah, I'll give it a C. And nothing to add. Survivors of Sarava is 2 mana, 1 water threshold for a 2-power ordinary mortal. At the end of your turn, if no enemies are nearby, this gains stealth. I don't really see that happen very often. Like I have seen this with stealth, like that will happen, but it's just stealth on a 2-power minion. Like you're not gonna do that much with that anyway. So I give this like a C minus. I think it's like a step below some of the other ones.
Yeah, I'm actually underwhelmed about this card. I thought it was amazing, but the fact that it's enemies includes your opponent's avatar. And so, yeah, if you are on the attacking side, where I would say if there are less minions of your opponent, but then you're next to the avatar. So in reality, this only happens once at the best scenario. When you cast at the beginning, then it's a 2 mana, 2-part minion with stealth, which I already did not like a lot before. Yeah, it can carry a pitchfork. That's probably one of the good things. So yeah, C minus seems reasonable. Baptize, 3 mana for a 1 water threshold ordinary magic. Ward each allied minion at target water side. Every time I'm like, this is a dream, I will ward my 5 minions and I will gain so much advantage that I will kill my opponent. Of course, that is never true. It will probably ward 1 minion and then 3 mana. It's way too expensive, so I just have it as a D, D+. I will not put this in my deck.
Yeah, I gave it a D as well. I haven't seen anyone cast it. But yeah, you're right. There is this dream of warding multiple things, but you can't just have all your minions on one site to begin with. So yeah, I don't like this card at all. Horrible Hybrids is next. This is the 3 mana, 3-power vanilla minion in water. This one's a monster. So yeah, that's like a C or C+.
Next one, Ice Shards, 3 mana for a frozen ordinary magic. Shoot 3 projectiles one at a time. Each deals 1 damage, but melts before the 3rd step. So this reminded me directly about fireballs or magic missiles. The only difference is that magic missiles, fireballs, they are 2 mana. This one is 3 mana, so it's more expensive. And also they melt, so they don't fly the whole 3 steps. They will die and only go 2 steps further. So it is not as good as fireballs and magic missiles, but the reality is it feels more or less the same, and it actually most of the time always does the same thing. I loved firebolts and magic missiles. They're so versatile, and Ice Shards is the same. It's a good card, and I give it a solid C+ to even B-.
All right, yeah, I gave this one a B-. The other difference between firebolts and magic missiles in this is that this one doesn't say in the same direction, so you can actually shoot 3 projectiles in different directions, which might matter. Like there might be a ward thing over here and then a 2-power thing over there, and you can break a ward and deal 2 and kill something. The kind of quick reference is that this has the same range as Ice Lance. It does 2 steps in front of you, and then it doesn't do the 3rd step. But yeah, it's great at dealing death blow. I think if you're in like Earth Water, you probably want to be taking this kind of high because there's not that many ways to deal the death blow. So yeah, just really good removal for water. I give this a B-. Mesmer Demon is 3 mana, 2 water threshold for a 3-power ordinary demon. Genesis, tap target adjacent enemy minion and make it step closer. This one's pretty premium. I mean, free movement and it taps their minion is kind of a lot, so this can also just break a ward sometimes. Yeah, I like it a lot. I give it a B-.
Yeah, the same. I didn't give a lot of ordinaries B-, but Mesmer Demon is very strong because everything that you said, yeah, I want to have a lot of them in my deck. Just movement, and I think this one and the counterpart is Screamer. Those 2 cards, because they are ordinary, is a big part why Gothic is complex. Like just having ordinaries, such good cards, forcing movements that it's really difficult to think about or always calculate or keep in your mind. Very tricky cards, so I like them a lot, but they make the game really more complex. And also just tapping an adjacent enemy can also just rip a defense in pieces. Next one, Moss Troll, 3 mana, 3-power minion, 1 water threshold, ordinary giant with stealth, and it loses stealth if it moves. I like the card. I think it's a solid C+. This is one of the better 3-powered minions because it is stealthed. You cannot target it. So correct me if I'm wrong, Mitch, but if you attack something, actually the stealth will be lost during the movement phase. So that means if you would attack something, you can actually block it. In the order, so I see you nodding, so you agree. So it is not the same. So it's not a full stealth. So here the stealth, so stealth does multiple things. Here the stealth only protects your minion from being targeted. The moment that you attack, it will lose its stealth and people be able to block it. If you want to block, then it is stealthed and you can, of course, just block. So that is a big difference for stealth, but even so, being not able to target it, and so it is safe if you're on the defense to play it, is really a high upside. So C+ for sure.
Yep, I give it a C+. Nothing to add there. And then we have Overflow. This is 3 mana, 2 water threshold for an ordinary magic. Draw a site, you may play a water site. I think everything that applied to the Earth one applies here. I think it's maybe barely playable in really expensive decks, but you should just not play this in your average deck. Like, this gets played a lot in Constructed, I've seen, like both of those cards, but it is not the same in Limited. Like, we are not just ramping out big things on the regular, so probably just stay away from these ones.
Yeah, it's completely unplayable, and this one is worse because it's even only water side, so The other one is at least land sites. You have 3 of them. It's very narrow. Next one, Trial by Water, 3 mana for 1 water threshold ordinary magic. An ally submerges target minion it's nearby. I didn't like Drown, so I also don't like Trial by Water. It's just too narrow. Yes, Gothic has more movement stuff, so in combination, so it's more like a build round. Depending on your other cards, you can make it higher, so it is playable. But if I don't have a good reason, I stay away from this. I gave it a C minus.
All right, I gave it a C plus just because I think water gets played a lot more in this format than it did in beta, which is where you're used to seeing drown. So I think it's just fine. Like water, I think like water and earth, I think are the 2 best elements, and that just means that there's just gonna be more water sites in play. But I have had the instance of like they just have stuff on my land sites and I just can't use this card. So definitely significant downside, and the more water you have the better, the more force movement you have the better, just like you said.
Yeah, that's exactly what you say. I really do not like cards that have the potential to sometimes just not have any effect. And that's when you might lose a game just because you have that one dead card in your hand.
Next is Weathered Trunks. This is 4 mana, 1 water threshold for a 4 power ordinary spirit. It must be cast to an allied site occupied by an enemy. So 4 mana for 4 power, we like that. But yeah, there's this downside of, yeah, it has to be cast onto one of your sites with an enemy. So like if you're ahead, then this might just be uncastable. But I still like this card a decent amount. Like if you're at parity or you're behind, then you can cast this, which is kind of the times that are pretty important that you need a 4 power minion to stabilize the board. So this is more playable than I originally thought it was. So I'm gonna give it like a C plus. What do you think?
Yeah, so this is the first 4 mana 4-part minion that I really dislike. So I like the design because it is an ordinary card. But so first I didn't like it when I saw it, then I tested it, I gave it the benefit of the doubt, and then it backfired so hard in my face that I really dislike this card. Although it of course can be useful. Like if you're on the draw, then probably this is a good card. If you can cast it on turn 4, amazing. But if you are advancing and you're winning the game and you draw these guys, this will actually let you get back to even because you are just drawing dead cards. And like I had 2 of these guys in my deck. I drew both of them and I was ahead, and because of those 2 I fell behind, and actually I lost the game. If I would have just even 3-part minions, I would have won the game. So again, I do not like these cards that can put me in a position where I just don't have the control, and yeah, I will be pushed backwards, and that is not what I like. So C minus for me. Next one, the Slimy Mutants. 5 mana for 4-part minion to water threshold. Ordinary monster with Submerge. And it has an effect, 3 mana, transform an ally with Submerge into Slimy Mutants from your hand. So the transform part will not occur frequently because it has to have Submerge. So as you see in the drawing, it's probably a frog token most of the time if you can use it. It doesn't happen a lot. So it's actually a more expensive 4-part minion, which is still okay. It is playable. I just have it, I think, as a C. It's fine.
Okay, yeah, the combos are Gift of the Frog, and there's Croaking Swamp is a water site that makes a frog token. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like a C plus, but yeah, something like that. Like C to C plus. Maybe if you have some frogs, then it's a C plus. But yeah, it's just fine. Shogoth is 6 mana, 2 water threshold for a 5 power ordinary monster. It has Submerge and Voidwalk. This one I gave a C just because, yeah, there's kind of a lot of other beef that I think is just like a little bit better than this. It is very slow. I think this is the card that Harbinger really wants. Like Harbinger wants to roll and then like some of its stuff is going to be in the void, hopefully by your opponent's stuff, and you can actually just have this be 5 mana for 5 power. So it's like a C, but it's like a build around B. If you're in Harbinger, then it's going to be quite good.
Yeah, C seems right. C plus is probably a little bit too high, although it's a beefy minion, but normally there are plenty or beefy minions, or by then the game is probably already over. So yeah, C is fine. I don't mind it. I don't mind one in my deck. If I have no other upside, then it's okay. But it's not amazing. Talking about amazing, next one is 10-ton Slug, 7 mana for a 7-part minion for 2 water threshold. It is no hope, and it's an ordinary monster, and that's it, vanilla. This is for me the perfect collection card if you can get it, because who doesn't want to have a huge slug when they can cast it? But the thing is, you will probably never cast it. And even if you can cast it, if you're ahead, it doesn't matter. If you're behind, it's not impactful enough. Yes, you have a huge blocker, but you're probably dying from multiple angles, and this will not save you. So, yeah, collection. I never put this in my deck unless I really have, even if, no, I never put this in my deck.
Okay. Yeah, I have been playing these. Like, so the first like experience I had with Gothic was like playing some like really expensive stuff. Like you know, it was like hard to find expensive stuff in some of the other formats. So it was like really cool that we have a bunch of 4 to 7 power minions that we can put in our decks, and then I felt really good about it. Like it seemed like a really slow format. Like I wasn't getting beaten down or anything. So then I kind of started getting higher and higher on these really expensive things. But then like I ran into the Persecutor decks that were just like fire, air, aggro, and you just have no hope of ever casting a slug. So I think this is a card you really have to build toward if you want to put it in your deck. Like you really do want to just be like not only building your deck in a defensive way, but playing your deck in a defensive way where you know eventually I'll be able to draw my Shogoths and my 10-ton slugs and just take over the game from there. So I don't know. I'm gonna give it like a C for now. I think they're fine, and the format I think is like generally slow, but you are gonna have those matchups where you just get completely beaten down.
Yeah, perhaps that's for another discussion, because I don't find it that slow. It's not that fast as Arthurian Legends for sure, but I do believe it's hitting harder than beta.
Yeah, I mean,
So
if you do land this one, it doesn't die to 2 3 power minions, and I think that's kind of a big thing. Like, there's just so many 3 power minions. This really can just really take over the board if you have the time to play it. Okay, I guess we're moving to air then. Bone Spear is the first card. This is 1 mana, one air threshold for an ordinary magic. Sacrifice an undead to shoot a projectile from its location that deals 3 damage. So this is really a build around card. Obviously, if you don't have skeletons in your deck, you just can't possibly play this. But I think most air decks are going to be able to make some skeletons. So I gave it a C and like a build around B. If you're Necromancer, this card's going to be really sick. Like 1 mana to deal 3 damage is going to be amazing.
yes, but so I agree, build rounds for sure. But it's also a projectile, so that means that your undead has to be in the right location, etc. So yeah, B minus, then definitely good. Next one, I don't know how to pronounce it, the Desecrator Kite, 1 mana, 1 part, 1 air threshold, ordinary monster with airborne. At the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to this side. Same thing. I don't think the impact is there. It's a little bit better than the one that is burrowed, because this probably will be able to hit more for 2 damage. But it is weak, so I give it a C minus. I really don't want to play with this card.
Yeah, I gave it a D plus. I agree. There's like a higher ceiling to this. Like dealing 2 damage every turn for 1 mana is pretty nice, but it's just gonna die to like a desert or an ice shards, like some random 1 damage effect, or like any airborne minion's just gonna be able to chase this down and kill it. All right, Foul Bones is 1 mana, 1 power for a ordinary undead. It's airborne. And you can pay 1 mana to sacrifice a skeleton token to summon this from your cemetery there. It's just 1 mana, 1 power airborne. Like that just doesn't have that much effect on the board. So I give it like a D minus. I could maybe see playing this in Necromancer, like upgrading a random skeleton into an airborne minion, and then at least it can like block pretty well. Even then, I think it's maybe like a C minus build around in Necromancer. Still not really high on it. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. So solid D, but for Necromancer build around, I have a little bit higher because the difference between skeletons not being able to block or something that can always block airborne style, like nearby, is actually pretty good. So yeah, I think it's definitely C plus is probably correct. I had it like B minus, but probably C plus because it still takes a full spot in your deck to have that upgrade. But once you have the upgrade, it is for all your skeletons. And sometimes the blocking I mean, every skeleton can start blocking anything and saving anything. So yeah, I think it's the card there is something there. Well, next one, Plague Rats. 1 mana, 1 power, 1 air threshold, ordinary beast with lethal. So this is in the same series as our pit scorpions and the pufferfish, etc. Not without burying or submerged. So this is one just on land above. I just give it a C. It's a bit weak and dangerous. But, and the big but, is with Savior. If you're able to ward this guy, that is really annoying. Like for Savior, and I think I did one draft, Mitch was there, it was the first thing he said, oh, the Plague Rats are amazing with Savior. I took 2 of them, and yes, they are so annoying for your opponent. So that is definitely a build round, and then they even, I would then even say they go to B minus. They are that good. Because they will deal with anything, and otherwise I just give it a C to C minus.
Okay, yeah, I gave it a C, but a build around B for Savior. So we have the exact same notes. And I think it really is that good. Like I think it is a B in Savior because like I said about the like 1 mana 2 power minions, like those kind of suck. But I guess on turn 2 you can make a 2 power warded minion, and that's pretty good. Like Savior, like I said, he's playing off curve. You're wanting to cast your 2 mana minions on turn 3 and stuff, and that's gonna be dangerous when you're playing against Persecutor or anything that's aggressive. So if you can on turn 2 just play a Plague Rat with a ward on it, like what are they gonna do? Like that's gonna buy you so much time, and that's all that Savior wants is just all the time in the world to play their things off curve and give them wards. So yeah, I think it's super dangerous in that deck. I've even had someone play the Spore Sprout, the site that lets you play it anywhere, and they just like played it with a ward like right in the middle of my board, and it was just like so annoying. All right, Second Wind is 1 mana, 1 air threshold for an ordinary magic. An allied minion takes a step. You may cast the spell from your cemetery, banishing it afterward. So, I don't know, movement effects that don't draw cards have turned out to be better than they actually look. Like, yeah, like everyone's used to Blink and how busted it is, and then they see other effects and they're like, oh, that's not as good as Blink, so it must be bad. But it turns out, like, just paying 1 mana to have your thing take a step and then it can kill one of their minions for free, that's pretty good. And the fact that they have to like play around this for the rest of the game when it's in your cemetery is pretty annoying. So I'm gonna give it like a C plus.
Yeah, I still haven't landed on this, but I think I'm there that it's definitely a C plus and potentially even higher for the reason that you just said. Like if this is in your opponent's graveyard, it makes everything so difficult. Every block, everything. The thing can take an extra step. Very annoying card. Yeah, I like it. Next one is Zop. 1 mana, 1 air threshold. A shockingly ordinary magic. Deal 1 damage to target unit. I love Zop. I think it's an amazing design because when we talk finishers, I always want to have finishers in my deck, which what I mean, if my opponent is on death's door, I want to have something to kill them right away. And Zap is one of the best cards that I ever seen in Sorcery that does it. It's exactly what you want. And often I always want to keep one of my finishers in my hand. So The finisher part, it's exactly the same as heat ray or whatever that will burn cone of flames. It's evenly strong, but it doesn't cost anything. And honestly, if I need to use it because I need to get ahead, then often that one damage somewhere finds a place to get that advantage. So I'm high on Zap. I give it a C plus.
Wow. Yeah, I put this at like D or something originally, but I have moved up on it. I gave it a C minus. I'm still not as high as you, but yeah, this does just deal the death blow. Like you said, like this means that you don't have to, like, it just trivializes that last turn of the game. Like now the game isn't about putting them at death's door and dealing death blow. Now it's just about putting them at death's door. Like that's all that matters. So yeah, and presumably there's some instances where you actually just want to cast this to deal one to a random minion or something. But yeah, I haven't really seen it played
I,
yet, but I'm really curious to see how it plays out.
I think honestly, 25 to 30% of my games end with Zap,
Wow. Okay.
and it feels great.
Okay, next is Broomstick Witch. This is 2 mana, 1 air threshold for a 2 power. Ordinary mortal. It has airborne and spellcaster. Oh, this one's just a spellcaster. The fire one was a fire spellcaster. That's interesting. Yeah, so I give this a C plus. I mean, yeah, 2 mana, 2 power, airborne is good. Spellcaster comes up sometimes. I mean, a lot of the spells can already be cast by any ally, but there's like ice shards and other stuff that it does matter for. And then there's also like cards that need a spellcaster nearby, or they need to tap to release a thing with a spellcaster, that kind of thing. So it's a little bit upside.
Yeah, I agree. C to C plus, because the strange thing is like you don't want to put 10 two-part minions in your deck, and often they're just better two-part minions. Like Ward, I would like better, I think, even. But there are some cards that you really need spellcaster, and then it's really definitely a C plus because the card is purely upside. Next one, Displace, 2 mana, 2 air threshold for an ordinary magic. Teleport target minion, artifact, or aura 1 diagonal step. So I will rely more on you, Mitch, here, because honestly, I haven't tested this card yet. Because I always read, this is a blink, and it's not a blink because you don't draw cards. The only thing is, like, you can do some crazy stuff because it's also artifact and aura. Like teleporting your opponent's artifact, etc., somewhere can just be very, very good. But so it does a lot for that one card, but still it's not good enough, I think, for me. So I haven't played with it actually. I never find room for this. So I have it as C minus. I don't play with it unless you can now enlighten me that it's actually a good card.
No, I haven't seen anything with this card yet. I think people might be playing this in Constructed, which was surprising to me. I don't know if they're like moving auras and I guess like the follows and stuff. It's good with that, but and there's a lot more artifacts to steal in Constructed. In Limited, there's not that many artifacts. There's almost no auras, so you're mostly just moving your minion. And I don't know, 2 mana, 2 air threshold is just a little bit inefficient for that. So I'll just give it a C minus as well. Next is Forsaken. This is 2 mana, 1 air threshold for a 3 power ordinary undead. It has Voidwalk. It must be cast to an outer column, so either the far left or far right side of the board. So this is the worst one on turn 2 because it's going to be like 2 steps away from your opponent's stuff, but I think it's the best one anytime after that, basically. Like they're going to have their 2 starting sites, and then they're going to have to play 1 site to the side, and then you can just play this adjacent to their site. So I think this is really good. Like, yeah, it is just 2 mana, 3 power, and you can usually just play it right next to their stuff. Like, you can't really play it in a defensive way, so you're wanting to be slanting toward the aggro side. So in like fire, air, aggro, we have the 2 best 2 mana, 3 power minions for those kinds of decks. So I think these are really important for like fire, air, aggro, or if there's other like a water, air, aggro or something. Like I know earth and water are slower, so that's why I'm bringing up fire, air. So yeah, I take these pretty high. I think they're like a C plus, but kind of depends on what your strategy is.
That's so funny because I have exactly the same feedback. but I rate them as a C to C minus. Just because like they cannot defend, and like yes, I will have aggro on the side, but perhaps I'm dying in the middle, and that is something I'm afraid of. But yeah, but if you are on the aggro and you are aggro, then these are amazing. Yeah. Next one, Gift of the Raven, 2 mana, 2 air threshold for ordinary magic. Choose an allied minion. The next time they strike a unit this turn, the damage heals you. Draw a spell. This is a difficult card. I think and believe it's really good, but can I justify a spot in my deck? Although it is a cantrip, but the effect is amazing. That is where I always go around and around. The one time that I actually played it, it won me the game because I actually gained 4 life, which made that difference. Striking is easy, so you will always find a target unless you're really behind. So often I don't make room for it, but actually I think it has a lot of potential. This is a perfect collection card. I currently have it as a C, and I'm really looking forward to what your feedback is.
Yeah, I gave it a C as well. Yeah, to note, this does have like the new text where it has to actually hit a unit for you to gain the life. You can't just cast it on some random minion that attacks a site. I guess it like gets a little bit better the more like 4 and 5 power minions you have, but just gaining 3 is gonna be fine. I haven't seen it like swing a game yet, so I don't know. I think it's just okay. I gave it a C as well. So Gossamer Ghost is 2 mana, 2 air threshold for a 2 power ordinary spirit. It has stealth and can't be immobilized or disabled. So I think that's like a very small amount of upside. I don't know if like anything even immobilizes units in this set. There are some effects that disable minions, but this has stealth, so it normally can't be targeted by this stuff anyway. So yeah, I mean kind of what you said about the water one, where it's just a 2 mana 2 power minion with stealth, which is like not that exciting. But this one has an extra threshold, which is even worse. So I give it like a C minus. What do you think?
Yeah, I have it C minus to C. It's just a difficult to cast 2 mana to stealth minion. So C minus seems right. Immobile, disabled, rarely happens. I mean, even with a frozen horror that disabled everything, you still cannot kill it. So no, it's the upside is very little.
Yeah, I think this might be like the worst 2-drop in air, and it has 2 threshold, which is just weird.
Yep. Novice Necromancer, 2 mana for 1 part minion, 1 air threshold ordinary mortal. It's also a spellcaster, and Genesis, it summons a skeleton token here. So actually it's also a 2 mana 2 part minion. And like when I played this in Magic, this is actually good. Having 2 bodies, 2 blockers. Actually, there is a spot for these kind of cards. But here, the skeleton token is a skeleton token that cannot move and defend. So that actually brings it down a little bit. And the spellcaster brings it up a bit because some use that spellcaster ability. All in all, I rarely play with this. I think if I go heavy on the whole skeleton team, then I would do it. It's a mortal in itself, so it's not even undead, which is a bit tricky. So I'm more on C minus on this card with a potential C plus build route if you have a lot of 4-part minions that need spellcasters, etc.
Yeah, I give this a C minus as well. I think I do just prefer to have 1 2-power minion than 2 1-power minions. Like there are just effects that deal 1 damage to everything, like Flare and Desert and Divine Lance, and there's just effects that just totally dunk on 2 1-power minions. The one upside of this, I think, is like with Witching Hour, because Witching Hour gives +1 power to all evil and spellcasters, so both of the 1-power minions will get +1 power. That's an exceptional build around card. So I could see playing it in that deck, like a fire air aggro deck that has like 1 or 2 Witching Hours, then it's probably fine. But yeah, I'm just not that into 2 1-power minions. Okay, Pith Imp is 2 mana, 1 air threshold for a 1 power ordinary demon. It has Airborne, and it has Genesis, steals a random spell from your opponent's hand until it leaves the realm. So I guess they just like put their hand down and you like roll a die or something and randomize what spell you get, and then you get to see the card. So I would just like put it face up and like put it under the Pith Imp for whenever the Pith Imp dies, then they get it back. I think like the effect on its face isn't as good as people probably think it is. Like I heard people be really excited about this card, and maybe there's a reason to be excited about it in Constructed, but honestly, like they're like you're just gonna have a 1 power airborne minion, which like we've talked about, and we don't like one power airborne just doesn't really do anything. Like it might be able to peck in for 1 damage for a couple turns, but then it's just gonna die to like a desert or a flare or something random, and then they just get their card back. So like I don't know, like if you were able to select the card and you could take the removal spell out of their hand, then it would be good. But the fact that it's a random spell just makes it so that this just doesn't really have that big of an impact. Like, are you just gonna put this in the back of your in your back row where it won't get dealt with easily? Like, sure, but then it's just a 1-for-1, and like you had to spend 2 mana, and they might still just get their card back. So it's just like card disadvantage if they ever get the card back for free. Like this just didn't do anything. So it's like fringe playable. Like technically it's a 1-for-1 if it survives for a while. So I'll give it a C minus. Another really awesome thing about this card that I really want to do at some point is that if you give it Spellcaster, then you can actually cast the spell that it took, and there are a couple of combos with that. So Wiccan Tools is an artifact that you sacrifice and you draw a card, and then it gains Spellcaster. That's really cool. And then there's like those relics that give +1 power, but then it only gives like 1 elemental spellcasting ability, so that's kind of bad. But yeah, I really want to put Pith Imp plus Wiccan Tools together at some point and be able to cast my opponent's spell, because if you can do that, it's busted. But I don't know if it's really worth building toward that.
Yeah, I agree with everything. So at the Seeds of the Core, when we opened Gothic and everybody was playing, the Pit Imp was everywhere. Everybody was playing with this card, and I actually had to go back and look it up because I didn't get it. So I have it as a solid D. I will never play with these cards because what you describe is actually what happens. The Pit Imp flies somewhere in the corner, hovering. They have to do a lot of stuff to defend it because my Flaming Skull is just following them and it will just kill it. Or you have the Mass Removal, deal 1 damage that we will talk about in a moment, the Murder of Crows. I mean, you will always get your card back and then it's just pure disadvantage. If it would say, look at your opponent's hands and then pick it random cell, then at least you have that knowledge, and that is actually worth a lot. Even then, I don't think I would play with it, but still, no, Pit Imp for me is really a bad card. I don't like it. I will never play with it. Unless you want to do the shenanigans that I also thought about, and I will try to do it at a certain point. Next one, Static Servant, 2 mana for 2-part minion, 1 air threshold ordinary monster, Genesis. Each other unit here takes 1 damage. I was not high on this card. I gave it a C, but then I started playing with it, and actually it's good because it is not just deal 1 damage, it is deal 1 damage to each other unit. It's like a desert. So I was playing a water air deck, and I had the water side that dealt 1 damage to each part on the water, casted this one, so it's like 2 damage to each minion, and then with the zap I actually killed 2 minions. But like there is always moments that you want to do 1 extra damage, and you can kill skeleton tokens. I think for a 2-part minion, it's more on the higher side of the 2 mana minions, so I give it a C+.
All right, I gave it a C, but I do read it and I do see like I can break wards with this, I can kill skeletons, maybe my stuff can trade up with it. So yeah, there is definitely something here. It probably is a C+, you're right. Vampire Bats is 2 mana, 2 air threshold for a 2-power ordinary beast. It has airborne, and Vampire Bats strike damage against units heals you. So again, this is the new template where you have to hit a unit to heal. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. 2 mana, 2 power, airborne is solid. And then, like, it's probably not going to survive. Like like it might hit a skeleton and survive. Like that would be sweet to actually gain the 2 life, but you're probably not swinging with this like multiple times. So it's probably just like 2 mana, 2 power, airborne, gain 2 life, which is a pretty solid card. So I give it a C plus.
Yeah, I agree. Vampire Bats are really good cards, and I think it's also well balanced. Here, I completely understand the 2 air threshold because it's just a very good ability. I mean, Airborne is amazing, and getting life back is amazing, but you can manipulate it. I mean, there are pitchforks very easily that boost it. There is, as you say, giving it with the wolf +2 power. I mean, this potentially really can swing so hard in your favor, let alone if you have like a blade that gives +3 power. Like, this is a very scary card. I would say I love to play this in 2 element decks. If you go to 3 element decks, this will probably be risky because you do want to play them early and fast. Next one. Willing Tribute, 2 mana, 2 part minion, 1 air threshold, ordinary mortal, which is, it doesn't look like a mortal, but then you see that guy on the bottom. And it has sacrifice, untap an adjacent evil ally. Vanilla 2 part minion, okay-ish, but that option to sacrifice and untap an adjacent evil ally can actually more often than not, makes a real difference, because you can cast it and sacrifice it right away, and it is an adjacent evil, so that means that your minion can be on the other side. You can cast it next to it, sacrifice it, and it can reach 1 step further. And there are a lot of ugly evil cards out there. So in worst, it is just another 2-drop, and as long as it's on the board, your opponent has to think about it, and potentially it can really be devastating for your opponent, which brings me to say I have it as a solid C to C+.
Okay. Yeah, I have always been impressed by this card. Like, yeah, it's like a movement effect, like it's a removal effect. It's just really good. Like, it does a lot. And also, there's like no downside. Like, it's just 2 mana, 2 power minion that randomly you'll sacrifice to like deal an extra 4 damage or something, or like kill something with it. Like, that is really powerful. So I actually went as high to give it a B minus. I think this is the best 2-drop in air, at ordinary at least. Ghoul is 3 mana, 3 power, 1 air threshold for an ordinary undead. This is the vanilla one for air. This one has the benefit of having the undead type, so there's a bunch of synergies for undead. So I give it a C plus. I think it's quite good. And then just to mention, so Earth has 4 3 mana 3 power minions. Water has 3, air has 3, and then fire only has 1, which is really weird. I don't know why they did that to fire, but I really wish that wasn't the case, but that's always just important to know. So yeah, fire kind of got hosed a little bit, but yeah, this is the worst 3 mana 3 power minion for air, but it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, they just nerfed fire, and I'm not sad about it. It's good that they get a bit more humble. Ghoul, I have it as C. It's just a vanilla 3 mana 3 power. It's fine, it's good, but not as good as some of the others that we will talk about in a moment. Next one, Murder of Crows, 3 mana for a 2 air threshold ordinary magic. It reads, deal 1 damage to all enemy minions on the surface. You may cast this spell from your cemetery, banishing it afterwards. This card is amazing. So in late game, if you have 6 mana, it means 2 damage. And yes, you read that right, enemy minions. Not for your minions, just your enemy. Every card that just says enemy minions, those are great cards, because yeah, you can force stuff with it. Also, I think we live in evil times, and there are a lot of skeletons, So you always want to have something that can deal with skeletons. Murder of Crows is probably the best one out there. And just the fact that you can have it lying in your cemetery and be able to use it whenever you want it, yeah, I think the card is really great. And I give it also a B minus.
Yeah, like we said at the very beginning of the show, like there's Necromancer and Savior both at exceptional, and this deals with both of those avatars. Like they have a huge advantage over you. If you're Spellslinger and they have Savior or Necromancer, like they are most likely to win that game, like from the very beginning. So having a card like this that can easily take out all of their skeletons or break all of their wards, it's quite good. So I give it a C plus, but I can see an argument for it being even higher than that. Okay, Raise Militia is 3 mana, 1 air threshold for an ordinary magic. Summon a skeleton token to each allied site that borders an enemy site. So if you remember Border Militia, this is Border Militia, except you get skeletons, which are definitely worse. They can't move to defend. Like Border Militia was kind of good on offense or defense because, yeah, like if they attacked your site, you could double block or triple block sometimes, and that was really good. I'm not as sold on Raised Militia. Like they are evil and they are undead, so there is some synergy there. So if you can build toward that, then I think it's more playable. But just on its face, like if you just get 3 skeletons for 3 mana, I'm just not that impressed by that. So I give it like a C, but it might be higher if you build around it.
Yeah, I agree. I have it lower. I have it as a C minus. The difference is huge for me. Soldiers were amazing because they were blockers. They bought you time, and in offense they would start hitting. And if you would have 4 sides, that is 3 mana for 4 power on the board. That is always good. Here you do not have that block aspect. They're way more weak. They cannot triple block and kill a 3-part minion if we want to. Yeah, I don't like it. And also, people don't build teeth anymore with their sides. So you do not get 4 skeletons out of this. Probably the best is 3 in more late game scenarios. So, no, C minus. And I don't think I put this in my deck anymore. Next one, Screamer. 3 mana, 3-part minion, 2 air threshold, ordinary undead. With a Genesis ability, tap target adjacent enemy minion and make it take a step away. Screamer is amazing. What a card. It taps the minion, so it can disrupt a whole blocking scenario, but it will also force them to take away. So even if your opponent just casts a 7-part slug, you can just cast it. It has to take a step away, and it needs a full turn to get back to then after. So it's, yeah, Screamer is so good and lets you race even harder. So yeah, I have it as a B to B minus. I gave it a B minus, but this is a very good card.
Yeah, I give it a B minus as well. Like I think this one is significantly better than the Mesmer Demon, and we like Mesmer Demon a lot. Like we both gave that a B minus, so I could also see this even being a B. Like it is really super powerful. I remember this is like one of the early spoilers that we got, and I was like, oh man, like air is gonna be really sick. And I'm sure we'll have a discussion about the element rankings and everything. But yeah, this is a solid card. Okay, next one is also very solid. This is 3 mana, 2 air threshold for a 3 power ordinary spirit, and it has movement +1. Movement +1 is just really nasty. Like, there's a bunch of 1 and 2 power minions in the format, which means, like, if this is in play, you can just block them. Like, and it's going to be able to reach them. Like, they have to play around this ability. And if you're getting aggressive, it's pretty hard to block this thing. So, yeah, movement +1 is good on offense, good on defense. And, like, you just get it for free here. Like, it's just 3 mana for 3 power. So, I like this card a lot. I give this one a B minus as well. My only question is which one is better, Snallygaster or Screamer? And I think Screamer, but this one is quite good too.
Yeah, I agree. I think Screamer is better than Snallygaster, but it really depends on the scenario. I had a bit of a similar reaction when I saw this one being spoiled. I was like, what are we getting ourselves into?
Yeah.
Because, like, yeah, the stat line, it's 3 for 3, and that's a good minion. We built Gothic around 3-part minions, And then this one just has free movement +1. I mean, at a certain moment, I was so high on the nomads in beta and with Arthurian Legends. Just the +1 movement is so strong in Arthurian Legends with the lances, but now with wards. So, yeah, Snallygaster is a very solid card. And as you say, I think air, it's a strong element. B minus, definitely. Next one, talking about strong minions, Bound Spirit, 4 mana, 4 power minion, 1 air threshold, ordinary spirits, disabled unless adjacent to an allied spellcaster. So, in the beginning, when I first saw the card, I was like, huh? Like, I like 4 for 4, but being adjacent, that is annoying. Like, how many times will it be disabled? The funny thing is, rarely. The card is really good. Yes, it has that backside. I mean, it is a bit annoying, but like, can you risk it that the avatar just takes a step forward and it will just kill you or your 3-part minion? No, so you cannot risk it. I think Bound Spirit is very good. I want to give it a B minus, but no, I will give it a B minus. I think the card is really solid. I mean, I'm always scared of 4-part minions, and I most of the time use my avatar as the spellcaster, but as we have seen, there are quite some ordinary spellcasters. So even you could trick your opponent to say, oh, I didn't see that you could draw my minion, and then perhaps next turn you just cast spellcaster next to it and it wakes up. Yeah, I think Bound Spirit is a solid card.
Okay, yeah, I gave it a C on average, but I think in Persecutor, I'm really high on this card. Like, I'll give it like a B minus in Persecutor, because you can freely take a step. Like, you're gonna be able to be adjacent to this, but I've seen it be a little bit awkward too, where like they just can't really block in the direction that they want to, and you're just like beating them down and stuff, and like kind of early in the game, this is kind of just defending one of your sites. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's good in Persecutor though. That's kind of where I'm at with it. But you would play this outside of Persecutor, just like random Spellslinger deck?
Yeah. No, for me, just a 4-part, 4-mana minion, but you have to make the card work. But I truly believe that it's not that difficult. I mean, every time I play it, I can make it work. I always have my advantage. What you say, it is true. Sometimes a bit annoying for the blocking, but the risk that the opponent is taking to have a 4-part minion just hitting you and get the advantage. Yeah, I like the cards.
All right, and then Dreadwing is 5 mana, 1 air threshold for a 4-power ordinary demon. It's airborne, and it has Genesis, strikes your avatar unless you discard a card. So basically, you just take 4 damage or discard a card, is what it says. So that's pretty huge downside. I mean, 5 mana for 4-power airborne is like amazing, though. So if you're in an aggressive strategy, then you probably can get away with taking 4 damage, or if you're in the late game, you can just draw a site and then discard the site. That's not that big of a deal. Like, you're not down a whole spell in that case. So I think it's actually fine. Like, I'm higher on it than I used to be. I gave this pretty much the same grade as Bound Spirit. Like, I think it's like a C to C plus, maybe even in the average deck, but I think it's like a B or even higher in Persecutor. Like, if you're really beating down and you don't care about the life loss, then this is just 5 mana for 4-power airborne. Like, that's quite good.
Yeah, honestly, I have Dreadwing as a B minus. Just the fact that you can discard a site. So it is not that it's like an extra turn. You can just draw the site and discard it. And like, if you're ahead, I don't care about the 4 life. I will get it back. I'm in the advantage. I think Dreadwing is a very, very good card.
All right. You want to take Waken Tools?
Sure. So we come to the artifacts, ordinaries. There are only 3 of them. And we come to Wicked Tools. An ordinary relic, which says sacrifice Wicked Tools, draw a spell. This turn, bear becomes a spellcaster, and their spells require no thresholds. So, unfortunately, I never make room for these cards, although I think the effect is actually very good. So it's more like a build around. If I have, for instance, I decided to go for a 3-element deck, but I have like a real bomb, like a balloon or whatever, something with 3 threshold, then I might consider playing this. Like in worst case, it just draws your spell, so it's just a cantrip. So it's not a bad card. I just most of the time don't make room for it, but I think it can actually facilitate something to make your life easier. Like if I think back on Arthurian Legends, like Bond was amazing because it would solve also the threshold issue with playing brown bears and water double threshold in one deck. This card has it as an independent thing. So I think it's not an easy card. I think you have to be very precise when to place it in your deck, and then it, like as a build around card, it potentially can score quite high. But I don't have the experience yet. So currently I just have it as a C to C minus, but actually I can see it going somewhere.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, I have it as a C, but I also like haven't put this in a deck yet. Like, I think you need some reason to put it in a deck. I hope to combo this with Pith Imp, like I said, but outside of that, like, yeah, I don't know about you, but I'm sure we'll talk about it soon. But we could talk about it now. Like, have you been splashing at all in this format?
Not yet,
Yeah,
because the pockets are too deep. There are too many good cards in every element. But I like the Dreadwing. I have splashed actually because I had 2 of them, and I think they are really good. I mean, so it happens, but yeah, to be tested. It's too early for me to say.
yeah, I agree. Like, this feels like more of a two-element format than either of the previous. Like, we just don't really have good fixing, and yeah,
But
I think you just want to be able to cast your spells. Like, I could definitely see splashing for like 2 zombie hordes or something.
yeah, and also we have the blooms, right? So with generating all the mana, all the thresholds. So actually, splashing is facilitated by those sites, more or less. So it is definitely doable to splash cards. But as you say, there are so many good 3 drops, less perhaps fire. That's perhaps a different story.
Yeah, like I just haven't seen any like elites or uniques that are only single threshold that I would really want to splash for. Like I looked through the whole list and Black Mass I think is the 4 mana like draw 3. I think that was like the only card that I saw that I was like I would definitely splash if I opened this and I wasn't an heir, but everything else I was like I just don't think that there's enough reason to splash in this format. But okay, we can move on. Makeshift Barricade is 3 mana for an ordinary monument. If one or more allies here would take damage, prevent it. If the damage was 3 or more, the barricade breaks. So this is like kind of a ward for your site. I don't know. It's pretty bad. Like if they even just like have a desert that pings 3 minions on your side, it breaks it. I don't ever see really getting any advantage out of this, so I just give it an F.
So this is a funny card because this is like everybody has like these cards that tickle them, and this is the one for me, I think, because it looks bad, but actually if you read the card, it's not that bad. I mean, if one or more allies here would take damage, prevent it. So basically it is a ward for 3 mana. And then perhaps it doesn't break. Anyway, whatever. I will make it work someday and you will cry. But yeah. And it has a chicken on it. I mean, how can you not like this card? But no, I have it as a C minus. I don't see it, but I will make it work someday. Last one, Torch and Pitchfork, 4 mana ordinary weapon. And it reads ordinary bearer has nearby ordinary allies have +1 power. And it reminds me so hard of the Pendragon banner in Arthurian Legends. And we gave that card an A+. It is amazing. And every time I see it, it's like, but it's more or less the same thing. Well, newsflash, it is not the same thing. First and foremost, if your avatar has it, your avatar is not an ordinary card. It will not work with your avatar, and that is a big changer. Because your avatar, as you know, when it carries something, it's quite safe, right? You cannot steal it unless you have steal cards. This means, by definition, Torch and Pitchfork has to go on a minion. If they kill the minion, they steal your torch and pitchfork, which is not what you want to do. So you have to be very careful. The upside is there. The upside is the same as Pendragon Banner. If you can have it on a stealthed ordinary, for instance, then it will work the same. But I'm getting tired talking about this. And that is also how it feels. If you can set it up correctly, it will get you advantage, but it can backfire. It is dangerous. I had it against me, against 2 Torch Pitchfork together combined with a pile of skulls, and I actually lost to it. So, but it's like combo-y, and you really have to know what you're doing. I am testing it like every game. I get advantage for it. It sometimes lets me win the game, but I also lost this thing, and it was also annoying against me. So I still think it's a good card, but it's a difficult card. So I am between C to C plus to a build round B even. But you really have to know what you're doing, and I'm not there yet. I don't feel it yet. I don't find the right spot where to place it. What about you, Mitch?
Yeah, I kind of like Sword and Shield, like you were higher on it than I was. Like I'm way less willing to play an artifact that might just totally backfire and I just lose to my own card. So I'm giving it like a D plus, but I also gave it a builder on B, and the builder on specifically is like if you're Necromancer, like he's just pumping out ordinary minions all the time, and then you're gonna have a board of like 5 skeletons or something at some point, and then you can play this and just win the game basically. Yeah, I haven't had the opportunity to test that out specifically yet, but it seems very powerful in that strategy. But yeah, also like swap exists in the format, displace if people start playing that is in the format. So there are just ways to just steal your thing. No matter how safe you think it is, they're going to be able to steal it with a few of these cards. So that just makes me really not interested in playing it.
Yeah, but people are not really playing a lot with it. Swap perhaps. But perhaps the other thing I want to still mention is I actually tested thoroughly in my last sealed, and I had 2 of them. But the effect was that I removed so many exceptional cards from my deck just to have as many ordinaries in my deck. So actually, I went to 4 exceptionals only. And actually, I threw out some very good exceptionals. So there is also that balance. I mean, if you have 7, 8 ordinaries in your deck, or 10 even, that is not worth it. So probably you're right. It's more like a Necromancer skeleton flood thing, and then it probably earns its place.
All right, we're moving on to the sites, and we're going to start with Earth. The first one is Autumn Bloom. This is an ordinary site, provides Earth Threshold, and it has Genesis, and it provides Air, Water, and Fire Threshold this turn. So every element has one of these. So yeah, it's a 4-element site the turn that you play it. So then you can play your splash card, or maybe it fixes your other element or something. These are fine. I don't think that they're good enough to be splashing something, but I think if you have 3 blooms, I'd be willing to maybe splash 1 card with that. Or I don't know, like, do you think like 2 blooms and then you have to play 1 off element site and then you can splash 1 or 2 cards? Something like that?
No, I still stick to the 5/5/2. So
really?
2 being your off color, but it just helps, and it also doesn't do more than this. So in the beginning, I mean, also shout out, the art is amazing. But it is less good than I thought, because in reality, you start with your 3 sides, you will play them in your first 3 turn. Rarely you will say, hey, I actually need it for my off color, so I will draw a side early or quicker just to save it. That is never a good feeling, and often you then still need to play it. So it is just a minor extra, and thus I came down on it. It's not that amazing. But of course, sometimes it truly helps to cast that vampire bats, and you have 2 different elements. So then it helps. Yeah.
Yeah, I just give it a C. I'm not that.
Yeah.
It's
Same.
fine.
Next one, Blessed Village. an Earth site with wards, not high on it, C minus something there. It's okay, it's extra, but not much.
Okay, yeah, I gave it a C plus, but yeah, it's just fine. Heretics of Seth is cool with it. You can steal a nearby ward. You can actually steal a ward off of your own site. That's pretty cool. So yeah, there's little combos with it. Holy Nova, some other ways to use ward, but yeah, it might just save you a little bit of life if you play it like on turn 2. So yeah, it's a little bit narrow. Next is Hillside Chapel. It's an Earth site. It has Genesis. You may pay 1 to tap and ward a nearby allied minion. So, the weird thing with this card, I thought for sure you would have to only target a tap, like an untapped minion. I think the flavor is supposed to be like your minion is like bowing to the chapel or something. They're like, they're praying to the chapel to gain the ward or something. But it turns out, according to the official rules, as far as I know, you can pay 1 and ward a minion that's already tapped, which seems kind of weird to me. But yeah, so I'm giving this a C plus. I mean, it is just pretty solid upside. Like a ward is worth quite a bit. So yeah, that's what I understand anyway. I could be wrong, but I think I saw a judge answer the question, and they were like, yeah, like you just do as much of the effect as you need to, and if the minion's already tapped, then it's already tapped, and it still gets the ward. So, what do you give it?
Yeah, but because we need to look up the rulings, because I understood that it's different than in Magic. If a card mentions tap, it actually has to be able to tap. So unless it has changed, normally a tap minion does not support this. So if it's the way that you say it, then I agree, then it's actually a good card. The way I understood it, that you have to pay the 1 and tap, then actually it's a bad card. It never happens. I never be able to tap and spend mana just to get my wards, and also sometimes I mean, tapping that minion is also a big negative effect because you lose your blocker. So I think it's a bad card. If what you say is true, then it's actually a very good card.
Yeah, I think you can, but I don't know. That's what I'm going with anyway.
Okay, well, we'll write it for sure in the descriptions. We'll look it up, what the actual ruling is, because this is an important one.
As promised, I did some research, and me and Nick talked about it, and we both agree now that I was correct. You can ward a tapped minion. The reason being, the card reads, you may pay 1 to tap and ward a nearby allied minion. It doesn't say you may pay 1 and tap a minion to ward it. Then that would be part of the cost, because it's you pay 1 and you tap a minion as part of the cost. But it says you pay 1, which is the cost, to tap and ward an allied minion. So you can ward a minion that is already tapped.
Next one, Open Grave. A Genesis ability, you may pay 1 to summon a skeleton token here. This is just generating your soldier from back in the day. Now it is a skeleton. Skeletons are worse than soldiers, but we are in the evil empire where it's an upside to be evil or undead. So yeah, it's a good card. You will always want to play with it. You are happy if you can just generate a free token.
Yeah, I give it a C plus. Yeah, good site. You want to have undead.
Yep.
All right, Silent Hills is an ordinary site. It's Earth. Genesis, until your next turn, minions are silenced while atop nearby sites. So importantly, this does break ward, because ward is like an ability that gets added to the minion. So that's pretty cool. You can also like silence your skeletons so that they can block on your opponent's turn. There are some other like mini combos with Silent Hills, like the Genesis minions that have downside. So yeah, I like this card a lot. I give it a C plus.
Yeah, Silent Hill is really good. And sometimes you also don't see it coming. It's also nearby, so it reaches quite far, and it lasts until your next turn. So that is a lot of upside just for a site. I think it's really good, so C plus for sure. And then I think we come to fire, right? So the first one occurs desert. Genesis break nearby wards. It's a very good ability. It's just extra. Against Savior, it is crazy good. And yeah, there are many sites. That's why I don't like ward on sites, because you have the sites that just break it, and often they're nearby. So yeah, I like it. I give it to C plus.
All right, yeah, I gave it a C plus, and this one and Silent Hills, we should just say, like, obviously if you're playing Savior, you might just not want to put this in your deck, or if you have just a bunch of wards, then just don't play these, and that'll be fine. Desert Bloom is the Fire Bloom. It enters and provides all thresholds, and like I said, I just don't think that they're good enough to be able to like really facilitate splashing with just these. So I'm just pretty much sticking to 2-element decks, and then this is just kind of a very slight upside. It's like a C.
Mm-hmm. Next one, let works Genesis into the next turn. Size as silenced while nearby. Similar as what we just talked about. Amazing ability. Same, C plus.
Well, this one only silences sights. I mean, that's a pretty big difference.
Ah, sorry. You're completely right. So yeah. Sorry, I was mistaken. Then it drops down to a C, of course.
Yeah, I put it at C minus, but yeah, it's probably a C. Yeah, like it breaks wards on sites, I guess. But I mean, like you said, like we don't like often the wards on sites don't even matter. So pretty low upside there. Vast Desert is the ordinary site that everyone knows. It's the fire site that has Genesis, deal 1 damage to each minion atop target nearby site. In this format, it can break wards that are on sites. It can break wards on minions. It kills skeletons, so quite effective. I think it's a B minus.
B minus, wow. Yeah, honestly, I'm so happy that they brought a desert back, so I just can nag about how bad one-part minions are, because still they're still there, the deserts, and from the start, it's like such a staple card from the beginning of Sorcery, doing 1 damage with the desert. So I am very happy that they brought it back, and yeah, the effect is very strong. So yeah, B minus probably right. Then we swim to water. First one, Algae Bloom. Same as the other blooms, same effect, same rates. It's good, but not that much more. So C.
Yep. Blessed Well is the water site that just has a ward on it, so kind of the same as the Earth one. I don't think there's any difference. I gave that a C plus. I think you gave it a C.
Yeah, I'm not that high on warded sites, so for me it's just a C. I'll play with it if I have it, but I will not give anything up for it. Next one, Croaking Swamp. Genesis, you may pay 1 to summon a frog token here. This is a great card. We didn't have this in water yet. Just something that generates a token for free, a blocker for free. And as we have seen, there are some synergies with water and frogs, etc. So this is a very good one. So definitely C plus, perhaps even a B minus in the right deck.
Okay, yeah, I just gave it a C, but yeah, there's combos with it and stuff, and at least this one, yeah, it can block for all your stuff. So yeah, maybe it is just like basically as good as a foot soldier, which I would normally give a C plus. All right, Stinging Kelp is our last water site. It has Genesis, deal 1 damage to each unit at target site in this body of water. So if you're attached to your opponent's body of water, you can kind of swim around and do 1 damage anywhere. It feels like a desert. Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't know. Do you think it suffers from like the drown versus bury thing, where like it only affects things on water and then it's not as good?
No.
Or?
No. I think Stinging Kelp is actually very strong, because deserts are amazing. We love deserts, but it was always like it has to be nearby. Here, it is really anywhere in your body of water, so you don't see it coming. And if you have this in your deck, it's not that difficult if you are a 2-element water deck. to have a path to all your key position and then playing the kelp and be able to deal 1 damage anywhere. So I'm actually surprised, and it goes up in my rating. Yeah, I think kelp is could be potentially better than deserts.
Okay. Yeah, I gave it a B minus, the same as I gave the desert.
No. Okay, then we fly to air with an accursed tower. Genesis, break nearby wards. Very same. This also goes for the minions, so yeah. C+, but of course not in a ward deck. If you have a lot of wards, do not play this. I did it once. It was so annoying, so.
Yep, I gave it the same. It was a C+, I think, in my grade. All right, Den of Evil is an ordinary site in air. It has Genesis. This turn, the next evil cast to this site costs 1 less and requires no threshold. So it's a pond for evil, which in Arthurian Legends we liked pond a lot. And in Gothic, 50% of minions are evil. So yeah, this is really good. So yeah, I gave this a B minus. I don't know, just like being able to play a 3-drop on turn 2, or just being able to fix your threshold late and playing like a 6-mana bomb on like a couple turns earlier than you normally would. Like that's pretty powerful. So yeah, I like this a lot. I even put one of these in a non-air deck just because it's that powerful.
Yeah, I agree. B is probably too high, but if there would be a site that has the potential, it's this one. Now, it has a bit of the same effect as the ponds, which means that it's very strong in the beginning because your sites are placed very centrally. But after turn 3, it's a bit awkward sometimes because if you want to have the advantage, you have to cast it on, in this case, the Den of Evil, and sometimes it is not where you want it to be. So that's why I think these cards are actually very well balanced. But as you say, 50% of everything is evil. So it's like, wow, this card is really, really amazing. And you see them also all the time. Yeah, definitely B minus. Next one, Open Mausoleum Genesis. You may pay 1 to summon a skeleton token here. Same as the other one, we love the skeleton tokens for free. Definitely a C+ to higher if you are in need of a lot of skeletons.
Yep, I agree. I gave it a C+. Spore Sprouts is next. Genesis, you may cast minions with 2 or less power to any site this turn. I haven't really seen this come up very often, and there's so many 3-power minions in this format, like, I don't know. And like a lot of the minions already have like restrictions on where you can cast them. I just give this a C. I've like hardly ever seen this come up.
Yeah, it's funny because the upside is there, and I always play a lot with 2-part minions, but it rarely happens that it actually makes a difference or that you have it on the right time. But I can see that if you have your lethal minion casting it somewhere else, or if you have the charge minion for 2, but yeah, it's marginal. Last one, another Twilight Bloom, same as the other ones. It's okay. It's just extra, just a C.
Yep. And then our last site is one without any threshold. So this is Troubled Town. It's an ordinary site, provides no threshold, and it says Genesis, you may cast a townsfolk from your collection to this site. So this one does name the card townsfolk, I think. Like you can cast one from your collection even if you don't have one. So there's one in water, one in earth, so you have to be at least one of those elements in order to actually use this card. I give it like a D, but I think if you have like low enough threshold requirements, I think you can have one of these. And like a site that is just 1 mana, get a 2-power minion, like that is something. Like that is a piece of cardboard that they have to deal with. So also I guess like if you're in Savior, then you want this a little bit more too, because they are not evil. So you can play this, pay 2 mana, get a 2-power warded minion. I don't know. I'm still pretty like, I don't really like sites without any threshold on them, but maybe this one's worth playing. So I gave it like a D, but like a build around C. If you have low threshold requirements, somehow if you build like a mono element deck, then you probably want like 2 or 3 of these. Have you had much experience with this?
I do, because this is for me a love-hate cards. I love it because a free two-part minion. Are you kidding me? I mean, I love soldiers, but this is a two-part minion. That's so good. But another but the reality is like I never want this to have it in my openings hand because I always at least have in two elements, and I always first want to make sure I have my two elements of my two colors. So actually, I need an extra side to make sure that I have both sides covered. And then this trouble town, it really is troubling because then I have to choose. I will go for one element, one of the other elements, so I cannot cost any of my two elements. So I will always mulligan it. So actually, the Trouble Town is really good. Like if you really do not have a lot of double threshold, then it's actually amazing, I think. But otherwise, this is actually the site that you want to draw on turn 5 or something. And then the effect of the two-part minion is less. So I think actually the card is well balanced, and I tend to agree with you. It has gone lower and lower because if it screws your threshold, it is just not worth it. So I'm probably on the C minus right now, but I think D is actually right.
All right, that is the last card we had to review. So tune in whenever we get together and record again. We'll be doing all of the exceptionals in Gothic, and then we'll keep going. We'll do a separate video for the elites, separate video for the uniques, and we'll just keep going through them. So thanks for watching, guys. Please leave comments. Let us know what you disagree with, what you do agree with, how you've been doing in the format, what elements you think are good, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I appreciate you for joining me, Nick.
Likewise, I love doing this, and right on time that we have a new set to review.
All right, appreciate it, guys. Bye.